Hello, everybody, and welcome to the end of Rogue Week. It ends, as they all do, with a complete history from the beginning to now and beyond. Wow.
I didn't write anything beyond.
I don't. I do that. I do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's easy. I just put down a few pictures, and then I say, like, I did all the work.
You did.
I just take
You
all
did
the credit.
all the hard work.
So,
Words.
we've been playing this game since it first came out. I remember when the spoiler article came out, and then Travis was like, I'm going to buy 2 copies of this, and we're going to play it. And we did. And it was... I mean, we're still playing it today, so obviously it must have had some sort of impact, yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, at the start, it was like pre-meh.
Yeah.
The first couple of playthroughs were not super great.
Yeah, once you get Dunwich, then like you get like an actual campaign that starts to like explore the mechanics, things pop off a little bit more. And Rogue has kind of been a class that has had very low lows and very high highs. When I was going through your list and putting all these slides together, it wasn't until about like halfway through where I was like, damn, all these cards are now becoming bangers, right? But like in the beginning, while there's going to be some good stuff here, Rogue is kind of known for its rough start in forms of its investigators, its player cards. And I think a big nature of that is that Rogue is a class that the idea is that you are rewarded for kind of putting a lot of pieces together. But the payoff in those early days was harder to get and also not nearly as good as just Book v Shrouding and using like Dr. Milan.
Yeah, there are lots of good cards, but those cards didn't like do anything to actually progress the game or solve the problems that you were facing, really.
Yes, yeah. Now they do. You look at a lot of these older, especially in the core set, there's going to be a lot of the cards, and you're like, wow, these are actually like pretty sick. But you have to look at it in the perspective of when they just came out. So that's what we're going to do. With all these videos, we're going to kind of like talk more about the beginning, because that's the more interesting part. And then as we get later on and close to more modern day Arkham, we're just going to be like, yeah, this card's cool, this is what it does, this is what it helps. So we're going to start with how every Rogue player should start, which is playing Skids O'Toole, the investigator that's in the core set here.
Yeah, that's probably full, so I wouldn't try again after that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. That's the only thing I did.
Yeah. So the thing about Skids is that his stat line is kind of here to represent of like rogues, where Guardians, they fought, right?
Yeah, big punch.
Seekers, they investigated.
Big book.
Mystics used their brain.
Yeah.
And then that left Rogue and Survivor as kind of like, we can do anything, right?
And initially, Survivor was kind of the foot class.
Yes, they were, definitely were, yeah.
Foot.
Yeah.
Well.
Which meant that Rogue was, we can do other things.
Yeah. They were even like, we can do foot, but we don't like do foot, you know? Like, we're not the foot class, but we can do foot.
Yeah.
You can see that in like Skid's design too, where they were supposed to get their value not from like passing a specific kind of test well, but from like doing extra tests and then like passing them by like brute force.
Exactly that. Like, we're gonna see the ally Leo DeLuca in a few slides. The idea was that I remember you even saying this, is that you're not good, but you have enough actions that you can outgood the game. You know, like
eventually the tokens have to be good enough, right? Like if you can draw enough of them. In the way that purple gets to now.
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of.
Well, not that way, but like just by throwing actions at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yes.
Right? Like it worked in the core set where the only penalties were like on big boss monsters, where it was like, don't fail this one though.
Yeah.
If it's ready.
Yeah.
Because if it's not ready, then like whatever, do whatever you want.
Yeah. And like even in those early scrappy days of Arkham, the idea of fighting the Ghoul Priest, that's a scary guy, and most of the time it was better to like evade them first. So that was kind of like, you could see like the theory about like Survivor and Rogues was like, this does help because these big scary boss monsters are scary.
Yeah.
And that's good for fighting the Ghoul Priest, but then like, what are you doing for the rest of it, right? And sometimes with Skids, it's like, I'm gonna go 3-2 against this location. I'm gonna go 3-2 against this enemy with my switchblade, you know?
You were running a lot of like 3-2s, 3-3s, 3-4s.
Yeah.
It was not pretty.
Yeah.
Sometimes you passed because that's just how math works with variable numbers. But yeah, it wasn't good.
Still isn't.
Like it's real good.
The other thing that Skids would promote here for the Rogue class was that they are the idea that they have money, right? Like we kind of had this thing, like both Skids' ability and Skids' signature weakness is the concept of you're going to have money and you're going to have to spend your money to gain actions, or because if you're not getting actions, making it so that you do not get, what does he get? Fewer experience?
You get less experience.
Yeah.
So it's like doesn't even exist because there was nothing to buy.
Yeah, exactly. That's also,
It's
yeah.
like, what am I going to do? Upgrade my Leos so they cost one less? I guess.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Joining alongside Skids in the core set, Wendy Adams, the survivor, was Rogue 02. And I think like it's kind of unfortunate in the core box that came out that Wendy was kind of a better rogue than Skids was, right? Like,
well, but how we view rogues now, yes.
Yeah.
You actually had baked into your card that same, what if I drew more tokens, and eventually it just worked for me.
Yep. Yeah.
But better and easier than Skids.
Yeah, because like even like
a stronger stat line.
We're gonna be looking at backstab soon, and if you compare it like the Wendy Adams and Skids O'Toole using backstab, Skids is gonna have a better job paying for backstab in the core set. Wendy has more consistency of using using backstab. So this was kind of like the rogue issue, and we're gonna be talking a lot about this rogue issue for probably until like
a solid 45 minutes.
Yeah, like I think like Carcosa, we're gonna start seeing our first little like glimpses, and then like come in Forgotten Age, like we're gonna start seeing some actual like things too. But it's still not like it's still majority is gonna be like the rogue problem. We're gonna talk about Wendy Adams more in Survivor Week once we get to that. But she was able to really take advantage of these cards, and I think in our first play, I was Wendy. You were Skids. You definitely were Skids.
Yeah, because we were playing with the with like the recommended decks, which like don't do that.
Yeah.
That sucked. But like immediately it was kind of like, okay, so you take the other copy of this backstab because it lets me fight at +1.
Yeah.
Lets you fight at +3.
Did Patrick play this our first playthrough?
Yes, yeah, and I don't remember if you were Roland or Daisy. I think Patrick might have been Roland. I think that sounds right.
So.
Yeah. And then you were Daisy, and we did the theory paid off. Like we evaded the Ghoul Priest and we beat him to death with a baseball bat as Wendy Adams, which shows like what Arkham was with just this core set, right? You could do anything if you just all put your shit together and see what came. But as cycles came out, you're gonna see that Rogue was kind of like didn't go at the same rate that the other classes did. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they still hadn't decided what they really wanted it to do.
Exactly. All right, so onto some cards here. These are like the good cards, like the ones that were like.
I mean, Elusive's broken.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's printed.
Yeah. And Leo DeLuca, as mentioned, he kind of exists to showcase that if you have enough actions, you'll just like game the game. That's kind of like the thought for it.
Yeah, all the other classes basically got a level 0 ally that buffed, or a level 0 card at least, that buffed their stat that they used. The Mystics had the Holy Rosary, we had Beacop for Guardian, Dr. Milan for Seekers, and then Survivor got Athlete Gay.
He was in Dunwich.
Yeah, I know, but that's like...
Well, yeah, like in the start, because they're all designed together.
Yeah, Dunwich was designed at the same time as the core sets. They were all like basically the whole cycle.
Yeah.
Pure Sylvester, was the Survivor one, and this is what Rogue got.
This guy, like in a weird way, is an ally that gives you +1 to a thing, which kind of was the thing that they were trying to make rogues. Like you take more actions than everybody else. Like, you just do it badly.
Yeah.
And this guy made you do that one better, which is the same as everybody else's ally, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not one better, it's one more.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's different. It's different. It looks like they're the same until you start looking at them from a different angle.
Yes, yeah. I think Leo DeLuca also, without knowing it to a lot of players, also was the first big showcase of a rogue weakness that still is here today, which is their bad brain. So there's a common thing that's going to happen to a lot of new players, and it might even have happened to you watching this, where you play Leo DeLuca on the first turn, draw a Crypt Chill, fail, and discard Leo DeLuca. And this is kind of like something that we're also going to see as we go further through this, how rogues have gotten better at handling Mythos phases and stuff like that.
Yeah, in those early days, it was usually Switchblade.
Yes.
Yeah. Run on your Switchblade, and if the game makes you throw something away, that costs nothing to put into play.
That or Liquid Courage.
Yep.
Just didn't take a slot.
Yeah, because it's like it's one of those things where now, like in retrospect, we say like it'd be so much better if Skid's O'Toole was released with one brain and then like four fist.
Yeah, 4 probably punch because he's got blue.
Yes.
And that just makes sense.
But I understand like why. Like the idea was that these decks would probably run guts because then you have a chance against these things.
Yeah.
But like it's one of those things that you can kind of just really see where rogues were stumbling. Elusive was also it's a busted card. It's very strong.
Yeah, like we were
So many actions.
Yeah.
in the early days. We were definitely like pretty far on either side of the like, well, this is broken or this is unplayable side of things.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of just how that went.
Yeah. These are the ways that rogues would be able to deal damage. So notably in the core set, they actually don't have a way to get clues in the original core set. They have it in the revised core set, which is good because it kind of fits better into what rogues are, which is they can do everything but just like less efficiently than the main classes for it.
Well, I mean, they had a way to get clues. Like both Wendy and Skids had their 3 book. It just wasn't.
It is true. Yeah, they had a way on their investigator friendly card, but they had no like cards to support that in like the rogue class. Yeah.
Yeah, perception does not count as a way to get clues.
Why not?
Because it's a way to get clue.
Yeah,
Singular.
Play 2 of them. That's clues.
I can't argue with that math. 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
So backstab and sneak attack were actually 2 legitimate ways to get damage in the rogue class. But there were a few issues with them. Again, we're going to talk about like the issues. One, backstab didn't actually give you a boost, so it was like you had to combo with another card to actually have some consistency, or as mentioned, be Wendy Adams. Additionally, while rogue was written as the money class, there actually wasn't ways to gain money.
Not really.
Like you had emergency cash at level 0,
cash.
and that's
you
about
got,
it.
like Lone Wolf next cycle.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
which was sick as hell.
Yes,
but,
it was a very nice boost for it.
Yeah.
And I think a big reason for this is also because it's pretty much confirmed that Dunwich and Core were designed together. So like Jenny Barnes in theory solved the money problem, but that left Skids not really able to have a solution to this money problem. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I mean, if say it's not so. Skids has a hard time doing a thing. They don't put out cards that make Skids good. Well, we got Wolf Mask now. We got Wolf Mask now.
Yeah.
Having big splashy events like backstab and sneak attack is actually kind of interesting for how they wanted to design Rogue, where it seemed like they wanted you to accrue like small amounts of advantage through your multiple actions, but then your power cards all relied on you being able to make one test really well, which was just not what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So as
It's a hard time.
it's a perfect word for it. It's kind of just like dissonance. There's a lot of dissonance in like rogue design and like all that when it first started. A very kind of like, well, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's see what else they got
feel
here.
like a companion added to an RPG late into the design cycle. So like everybody else has the thing they do, and then the other guy's like, and I'm a bard.
Yeah.
Who's also a werewolf.
Yeah. But
and that makes me cool.
But then the
Like,
bard gets to like
sure,
level
yeah.
12, and suddenly
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
holy shit.
Like, why can this guy
patched
just
a bunch of
cast
stuff.
Wish? That's bullshit.
It's like, this guy's crazy. Onto the high side, we see kind of some more of this like rogue identity payoff, which was cheating. Also, gambling is kind of the thing in the terms of like, like that's like the theme for the class, like flavor wise. But then also we see Hot Streak, which is how you got your resources. You got to put 4 experience, have a $3 down payment,
There
but
was
you
nothing
do
else to
get
do.
7 on top of that, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
it
plus
is,
7
it is
is
plus
good.
7.
it's a lot of money. Yeah, it's like
it's a big
even for
thing.
4 experience, it's pretty good.
like it's like a very big because I mean, like if you think about it in Skids, this is 5 actions, assuming you don't do anything else with it,
Yep.
right? And like that's probably reasonably at the time worth 4 experience, and then you could argue today that it's probably still not bad in big money decks, but
That's pretty okay. Like
Still
it
more
is
expensive.
pretty much like you fire this off, and this should be all the money that you need
yeah,
to run the rest of your game.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, like this. If this was printed, I'd probably get 3 experience, and it would be like pretty good then. I think
Yeah.
4 is like a little bit pricey, but still fine.
Yeah.
Either that or it would be like 4 in Myriad. So like you'd upgrade out of the middle one, and you'd get 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like, it would be slightly
It's a
different.
hot streak.
think.
They should have. This is
Yeah.
the card name they should have put on Easy Mark.
100%. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
yeah.
No,
I mean, this one actually probably would have worked on Easy Mark too. Yeah. But yeah, so this was a really cool thing from like the flavor standpoint, especially Sure Gamble, which was literally just like say no to the game, right? Which they don't really do as much now, but like it was a really cool part of the original identity. And also being a super playable card, because this was like some of your security for your backstabs. That's right, you just needed 5 resources.
Oh yeah.
No problem.
We haven't really got like a rogue who is like cheaty recently though.
No,
we have like
haven't.
Alessandra,
Yeah.
who's about the parlay stuff, and then we had Kamani,
Yeah.
who's a security specialist.
Yeah, we haven't had like
Their
a gambling
assets.
one like in a while. Hopefully
Yeah.
we get one. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Also in here we had a few kind of like things that emergency cash for you to get like the resources as mentioned, manual decks to help your foot get better, but also pickpocketing, which is legitimately
Still good.
a pretty good card, and then the upgrade which we got pretty soon. Yeah, we got that in Carcosa. Is an incredible card. The issue with these that kind of came with it is that, especially in the early Arkham, and you can go back to like most videos on our channel from the past, evading was like just not as good as macheteing a guy to death, right? Like it just like killing the enemy was so much better than evading them. And like even in skids a lot of the time, like if you're skids and like you could evade with your pickpocket, or you know even just like power through a machete at 4. Like that's kind of like the choices you had to make. But like now evading is a lot better, but at the time, it wasn't
Yeah, at
the
the
way.
time it was kind of like you can run from your problems or you can be the problem.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, the manual dexterity in particular was extremely important to Rogue in those early days because you needed it to enable both backstab and sneak attack.
Yes.
you
100%,
needed
yeah.
Not only like your own, but you needed other people to be playing some, so that
Yes.
you could throw them at your tests. Because
Yeah.
you were like, I don't have good number. Good.
Yeah.
So,
On that note too, like
number bad.
like in the core set, if you had like a smaller collection, like you were like trying to split a core, like a double core 4 ways, the Rogue would also probably take unexpected courage for the same reason too, just because it's exactly that, helping those.
Oh yeah.
As for campaigns, so when I was going through this, I actually find like rogues aren't really tested by campaigns in the same way like guardians are, or sometimes like like mystics or survivors are, or like they're just tested by the encounter cards, right? Like encounter cards can just cause them to crumble. We have like Frozen in Fear here as an example of a card that is like the bane of rogues, because it's very hard to get out from under it when you only have 2 brain.
Or less.
And it's like one of those things that you have to like have a plan for. Even today as rogues, like there's like your Mythos protection is specifically like, okay, how do I stop this Frozen in Fear that gets there? But generally rogues are like not too much countered, and they actually have like a lot of ways that they could take advantage of this. Not so much in the core because it was Knight of the Zealot was so small. But I have the Ghoul Priest here as just like example again that boss monsters, especially back in the day, were
4 is a
really
big
good.
goddamn number.
Yeah.
When you have
So-
3, yeah.
So just like
3.
a
So-
really good option to keep them evaded. Like that's when like evade tech was like actually like
Yeah. But even
warranted.
then, it was like, cool, I'm testing 4 to 4.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't got alert though yet. No alert yet.
No, there
Not
was
yet.
there was no penalty for failure yet.
It's just like, well, sorry, I guess you guys are gonna have to. Maybe you grab it so you don't hit me, right? Like I failed 3 times, well 4
bad.
times because I got Leo DeLuca.
5 if you paid for it.
5 if you paid for it, because you probably did after you failed the first 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Going on to Dunwich now. We got Jenny Barnes. So Jenny Barnes continues the trend that we saw in the core set, which is kind of just flat. Not great at anything, but you know the idea is the jack of all trades, right?
Actually flatter.
Yes.
All
Even yeah.
3s.
Yeah. And Jenny's ability was just a nice simple, you get an additional money during each upkeep phase. Jenny did continue the trend that we saw of not being able to be great in the same way that we saw, like, I mean, if you think about who else came out in this box, right? We got,
Rex.
like, Rex Murphy, like, Zoe, Duke,
Yeah.
And then Jim.
then Jim.
Yeah, the Dunwich investigators again
got
also
that going
fall
for her.
on either side of like, hey, this is really good, and you cannot like. I mean, you can play with this technically because the rules allow,
Yeah.
but like don't. Jenny was pretty okay back then though, because you could do the same as Skids and include whatever made the guy who's supposed to be good at the thing
Yeah.
in your deck, and be like pretty good at the thing.
She also came with a weapon, which
Yes.
was pretty big back then because there were not
There
very
were not
many.
very many.
No. Yeah, we didn't include like any of the weapons in the core
They
because
suck.
They're
Yeah.
not good. It's like Switchblade.
yeah.
2.
Notably too as well.
Switchblade 2.
Because you get 2 copies of them?
No.
Oh no, the Switchblade and the
Level
core set,
2.
but the level 2 one is that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, the Switchblade and the core set was one of them. It was like...
Yeah, it was that one and like the 41 Derringer or something like that.
And
Yeah, the
knife.
Derringer,
Yeah,
the Derringer
knife.
and the knife.
Yeah.
Not very many good options there.
The other thing that helped Jenny out more than Skids, and the reason why Skids kind of was pushed even deeper in the mud, was the release of this collection of cards, but specifically Streetwise, because that allowed Jenny to actually like
Investigate at
use,
6.
yeah, like actually like do something, right? Because she got the 2 resources each turn. With Skids, at the same like just like using upkeep, you have to wait 2 turns, right? Like, and
Also,
Jenny just had that
your
like in
investigator
there.
card is blank then.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. But Lone Wolf, as Bryn mentioned, was some economy that the rogues got that was like super sweet back in the time.
I mean, it's still pretty cool. It's
yeah.
just like
Not as once it was.
sometimes
Yeah.
you got to jump through too many hoops for this.
Yeah. But this was something that like we played in like our rogue classes, and like it was a great also splash card too. Like it's just a very nice way to just get more economy by just playing the game.
Man, each of these slides is like, back in my day, we played with Lone Wolf and we liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's
yeah,
It's gonna be like that for a few cycles. Yeah.
Liquid Courage was a huge splash card for us back then.
Yeah.
Pretty much
yeah.
any of the Dunwich guys, if you had like your 5th card, you were like, oh, maybe it's just Liquid Courage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
We played that a lot.
the game tries to kill you.
There weren't great soak options back then for a lot of the
There
classes.
really weren't. There really
Nope.
weren't.
If you weren't Survivor.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, as long as if you weren't Survivor, yeah, like you
Bring
wanted
damage
like
to
something.
lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also Quick Thinking, which was
It became good.
yeah, it became, but also it was a great splash card. Like that's kind of like we look at these cards
Yeah.
here and like you know like in someone who's like Daisy, like not Daisy, but like in any of the
Rex.
Dunwich people like Rex, yeah,
I already want
like
to see
Zoe
Pi
can
too.
also like get there, right? Like it's like one of those things that
Dude, in Rex, if you pass to the +1, if you get if you pass by 2, because the +1, this card's worth like 4 clues.
yeah,
3 clues.
So many clues.
yeah,
Yeah, no, this card was definitely like the kid you bully in school. Cause,
Yeah.
in Rogue class, it was not good. You were already trying to do things with bad number, and it wants you to succeed by what?
yes, yeah, no, exactly that, right?
I just want to succeed.
yeah, yeah. Going on to the next one here. These were okay.
They're the good ones.
The good ones. One so good that it has been the only card that has been forbidden in the game of Arkham Horror.
forever.
Yeah, double
Yeah,
or
give
nothing.
us an extra green card to make up for it, you cowards.
This card has practically been deleted if you play with the taboo list. Well, not practically. It has been deleted if you play with the taboo list, but practically otherwise because most people do, at least in the online world, play with the taboo list. But this card, when you used it in the way that I saw Bryn use it when we played the Dunwich Legacy, which was just like as part of a vicious blow attack that he put a lot of resources into, it was super
like pretty
fair,
fair.
right? Like it was
Yeah,
super fair
it
and
was
like
thematic, it was a well-designed card.
yeah. But then, you know, there's just a lot of
You stack 2 quick thinkings into it, you stack and all in into it.
Yeah,
All of a sudden
yeah.
you're drawing 10 cards, you're getting 2 clues, you're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
4 actions.
Yeah. So while they got rid of it for power reasons, obviously, it also is because just like the compounding issues that would happen if they
Yeah.
didn't, and all like the skill cards like that they or effects that they need to just always think about double or nothing, which is a nice little like badge of honor that the rogues have, because while like a lot of their cards, as we're gonna get through, have been tabooed from Seekers, I think this is just like general rogue power that
I think this one's just like future-proofing the game.
yeah, 100%.
Like, we can't
General card
make,
game power.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't make new cards that do things.
Yes, yeah, and because anytime
Well,
it's like
this
if you
card
succeed,
exists.
Well, if we do it twice,
So-
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What if you pay the cost once but do the thing twice? Like,
Yeah.
We also saw the exceptional keyword show up here, which is a card so nice you have to pay for the XP twice. It is so Gold Pocket Watch, for example, costs 8 XP to put into your deck.
it's like mostly worth it.
Yeah,
It is.
and it's kind of also showing the continuing trend of like cheating the game, right? Where like the rogues are able to manipulate the game in their favor, which was really cool back then. Ace in the Hole is like continuing that gambling theme that also gives you like 3 additional actions, and it's our only exceptional event, I believe, still to this day.
Yeah,
I think we
so.
just talked about that.
Yeah.
This is totally fair. I understand why you don't want to make a card that says take an extra turn and then like have somebody be able to draw into another one or
Yeah.
play another one during their turn.
Yeah,
Like, gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
Message received.
Gold
But-
Pocket Watch is cool. Very, very. It feels really powerful to play, which is one of the things that Rogue, like, had going for it in those early days.
Yes.
I think was that Yeah, you spend most of the game doing garbage and not really contributing, but sometimes you got to do something really cool. And like even today, Gold Pocket Watch feels really powerful when it shows up. You're like, no Mythos phase, and everyone's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Or you're like, our turn again.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time playing this game, sinking my XP into Gold Pocket Watch so that I can be a Gold Pocket Watch bot.
I draw the pocket watch, I use it.
Yeah, like, what,
And we always
what say you do here.
Rex
Well,
and
I
Zoe, you take
play
another turn.
the Gold Pocket Watch.
Yeah.
I use it on a turn that is good for us to do that.
Yeah.
I play other assets so that Crypt Shell doesn't make me discard my Pocket Watch.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Additionally, we also had the upgraded version of Switchblade, which, like...
Switchblade, Witchblade.
Yeah.
Was pretty meh for a long time.
No, yeah, like it was, you played it because it was better, like it was a weapon you could use.
Yeah.
But like it didn't really like unlock until, I mean, like
Until
Leo
like,
Anderson was able to use it. He came out pretty
like,
soon.
functional, yeah.
But then like we're going to see a certain guy that like, the rate on this card, it's been tabooed, I think it costs 3 XP now.
I think it might be back down.
Oh, I think you're right. I think it is back
Yeah,
down
I
to
think-
0.
I think
Yeah,
they, put
to 2,
it, they put it up to 3 because they were like, Moni Torgan is too good.
Yeah.
And like they were not wrong.
yeah.
But it makes it so that nobody else wants to play with it.
Yeah. What this card also showcased was the idea that succeeding by 2 with those stats, it's nice to also have that boost and not just being able to attack at 3 with Switchblade, and
Yeah.
then if you succeed by 2.
Yeah, in the early days, what this one was good for was you could be playing Rogue and take like 5 attack actions in a turn. So you could do 5 damage if you could pass that test.
Yeah. Yeah, and you might like get like 6 or 7
Yeah,
damage
and
depending on how you go.
You might get extra damage or get to do something else with one of your actions
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You should taboo Tony so that way he can't use non-firearm weapons.
Or taboo him so you can only use melee weapons. Because Michael McGunn has the guns.
But what about his
No, they should just do something crazy, which is just like literally just make him have 4. That's just the taboo 4/5. Yeah. And don't give him another stat. He'll probably still be totally A-okay. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
He probably
Maybe.
would, yeah.
All right, on to the campaign. So the challenges of this one we see in the form of Unhallowed Country. You know what? Also kills a Leo DeLuca just blanking his text box and having to do a brain test. Luckily, Jenny was like just better at these, right? Because she needed to put less in the way Skids did.
Yep.
Also, I have here the cursed luck because having your stats reduced by 1 is pretty bad when your stats are already pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, like it didn't really change too much sometimes. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes you were like, I can't do that anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but then also like this one has a lot of brain tests, and also like actually most of the enemies have high evade values too. So
I think Rogue was actually like pretty decently positioned for the Dunwich Legacy at the time because back then the campaign design demanded a lot less specialization than it does now.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, we need to make a bunch of 2s and 3 tests. Like you have to make a fist test this turn, book test next turn, maybe a foot test, and like Rogue could do everything like pretty okay.
yeah, definitely.
It balanced well like, compared to a high fist guardian who's gonna be passing those fist tests every time, but it's gonna really struggle with the book tests. At least Rogue was like kind of passing both of them.
Right after Path to Carcosa, but before that, we had our first ever book promo investigator. I'm pretty sure Jenny was the first.
Yep. Right after the Carcosa Deluxe.
Jenny's always the first.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So these book promos, they released a little novella, and then was like, here's a investigator card to come with it. This was Jenny, and she had a different signature cards. Her card itself was actually the same, but she had the Green Man Medallion and the Sacrificial Beast. One of the things I did like about these, we don't really talk about these because like they're really kind of like also they're real but like not real, right?
Yeah, most of them like aren't great for the most part. Like Roland's is good.
Yeah. And they're also like they're out of print now too, so you can't actually like get them.
Yeah, Salus's is fine.
Yeah, but it's like the thing that's really cool that I like about the flavor of Green Man Medallion is I think this is kind of like the first instance of really seen that idea of like rogue selfishness. Now you might be thinking, no, but Justin, this is an XP payoff card. No, for you it is, but for when you're watching someone play with Green Man Medallion, they're like, let's drag this out so I can continue to just spend resources every turn to make myself better, but you have to potentially die in the Mythos phase. And I think that rogue selfishness is a very fun part of the rogue class.
Yeah.
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 We then go up to Path to Carcosa, where we got Safina Rousseau. And they cooked with this one because this was very, like, again, when the rogues didn't really have an identity.
It's a great design, honestly.
You can kind of do anything, right? Her stat line also for Brain. A rogue that wasn't as scared or scared at all of Frozen in Fear.
Still couldn't do things good.
Yep. No, that's true.
You played a lot of Safina, man.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
No, she's really cool.
Yeah.
I love the dichotomy of like the purple-green and the green-purple investigator, where like one of them's like assets are the shit.
Yeah.
And the other one's like, I'm gonna play every event.
Yes.
I'm gonna play all the events in the game.
Yeah. I think also Safina was our first like event-focused investigator too, which was really cool to like.
Well, I mean, unless you count Wendy with her signature. But,
Yes, but no one.
that doesn't really.
Yeah, no
it's
one.
like either we're doing something broken or we're just like gonna pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, she was a really cool investigator when she came out. As Travis said, Bryn really liked Safina. Yeah. Yeah.
Played a
And
lot
still
of
do today.
campaigns with her.
Still do today.
Yeah, like I would like I don't get to build decks that are entirely of my own design very often anymore.
Yeah.
Look, when we're
Like I would play this. I would play this girl like way more often.
when we're drafting, if you want to first pick Path to Carcosa,
No,
one's gonna
I've actually
stop
done that twice, and at both times it's like, oh yeah, there's no good cards to play. Like the investigators are sick.
you. I know.
Yeah.
This list of decks different. We got we got some cards.
Yeah,
in
we
here.
got-
I got some cards
Yeah,
in
we
here.
got the 3 I'd probably play. All right, let's get on to the cards because we actually have 2 that I think are very, very important for the rogue class.
Yes.
Lockpicks and pickpocketing. You know how like you were saying earlier, you feel like a boomer like back in my day? I feel like Arkham players today don't understand how critical lockpicks was to the rogue class.
Yeah,
Like,
like these
you
days you
could
get
do
your
things.
thieves kits.
Yeah.
Your Lola Santiago.
Yeah, you just also like passively just like, I don't know, have like 4 book or something, right? Like,
yeah.
Or like, hey, I've got 12 money, so my number is 16 this time.
Yeah, like-
You have events you can just pay for clues
Yeah.
out.
yeah, you just buy everything.
You couldn't do that.
Yeah. This allowed you to actually like get stuff done. Yes, like all other rogue cards, it was best in Wendy Adams when it first came out, but we're not going to worry about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, you got me there.
But it's one of those things that this card immediately just unlocked the classes from like the clue side, because we actually, as you see, haven't really seen like a lot of that clue stuff really in here besides, as Travis said earlier, just the grit and determination to go 3v2.
Is that why you hate Book v Shroud? You just have like some residual like ancestral memory of like jamming 3 to 3 over and over again, desperately
like,
trying to get
Like
clues.
choppers, like,
Skids, why do you suck?
oh yeah.
And then there's also pickpocketing, which is an incredible card as well for the rogue class.
It's still like really good.
Yeah. Who would have thought that just slapping fast on an asset is very good? And also, rogues are kind of just like, I'm pretty sure the class that have the most fast assets because it's kind of also like in
Makes
their
sense.
pie. Yeah.
It's like giving an action.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
usually they cost like 1 more money than they should, so it's kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
This one doesn't though.
This, yeah, no, this one.
does not.
It's a banger.
But yeah, this was a very nice boon for Path to Carcosa, and are still played. Lockpicks, as we talked about in our yearbook video, less like ubiquitous than it was, but there's still decks because
yeah.
it pays off a lot of the rogue cards
It's
as well.
still it's
60
still
buy
like
stuff.
Yeah.
still a very solid card.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like there's other options now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You're not shoehorned into like I want clues, lockpicks, or nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I do wish that pickpocketing was a trick.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Rita would.
Tricks can't be assets, I don't
Yeah,
think.
they can.
They can now. They couldn't back then, but they can now because dirty
sure.
fighting is one.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. But back in the day, I don't. I think that was definitely the.
Yeah,
the
there were
principle for
rules.
it. Yeah.
There's
All right.
no rules now.
We also got. This is kind of well, the 2 on the right.
It's the other cards that got played, kinda.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of Watch This. Because you also, for me, it's not gambling. Like I'm not. I just
It's
know
not
I'm
like
gonna-
gambling, no.
Yeah. And But the thing is, again, like the early on, like it wasn't until Finn where this card became like actually like you could play it in a way, because everyone else it's like much less like.
I mean, it was okay in Safina because of the brain symbol too, right?
That is true, yeah.
Yeah.
We also had Dario. Bryn, why don't you talk about Dario? How was Dario back in the
You
day?
have a history with Dario.
Yeah.
Played him quite a bit.
All right.
Brain and book.
Don't let his suave mannerisms fool you. This guy's just out here to be like, I'm 14 money for +1/+1 ally at level 0. That's what he mostly does. I mean, sure, he does actually give you extra money, but you can only do it once every turn, and it takes like 3 turns for it to be you to be getting any sort of positive out of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And there have to be no enemies there because he's a little bitch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's okay. If you're playing big money and you don't have an ally planned, like, sure, I guess he does the trick if you plan to use book or brain or both.
Yeah.
If you're Safina, he's pretty okay because like book and brain are the ones that you have that, like, you're probably using book because you're not good at punch, and if you're going to be good at punch, you're going to be using your brain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Dario was like a first like payoff that we started to see for the idea of big money.
Yeah, he
the
was
cards,
so
but
bad by himself.
Yeah, the other
though.
cards were just like spending money.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But then it's one of those things that because he was the only thing and he wasn't like good rate, it didn't really move the needle. But we got to see a cool thing with Sleight of Hand and Lupara in this block as well.
Sleight of Hand is the most goalpost moving garbage in this game.
Well, they clearly designed to work with Lupara, and then people used it for other things, and they were like, "Oh no, stop!"
But now it works with Lupara, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
like level 3 or less.
Yeah, 3 or less. Yeah. Thank God. But this was a combo that you did a lot.
Yeah, I
when
mean,
it
it's
first came
really
out.
strong.
Yeah. I mean, I think it actually like you even did it in like Safina. You're just like, here's my shotgun with Safina. I think like every deck you could, you played, and it is. It's like it's a cool thing. It also kind of showcases what I talked about earlier, where like Rogue is more of a combo class than the other classes, and the payoffs are usually like pretty damn impressive when they happen. Like what you're saying, like those instances where it's really good, you're like, wow, and then the Rogue is like, ignore the fact that I spent a lot of actions getting
Yeah,
here.
it's like
right?
that.
Yeah,
It's like that
this
Homer
was-
Simpson meme, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's all muscly and
Yeah, but then it's like
yeah,
pinched
just
together.
like
The reason this one got
pay no
to its
attention to
current
the fact that the rest of my deck does nothing.
was because of the secret card.
Yes.
But,
Yeah. Well, no, the Seekers do. Yeah, this was, I think, like, this is one of the cards that the Seekers ruined. Necronomicon 5, very good card to sleight of hand
I
in.
mean, like that one was kind of on the design.
Yeah,
so,
it was-
like,
Yes,
you guys
yes.
maybe shouldn't have.
It was
put
fair
that
though.
one.
Like, you probably shouldn't be able to sleight of hand the flamethrower or a shotgun or whatever. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
The sawn off shotgun, I think you should be able to
Yes.
sleight of hand in because it is sawn off to be smaller.
Yeah.
You can easily hide it inside your coat.
Yeah, it would have been neater
But-
if they like tabooed it to be like a rogue
Yeah,
one-handed asset or something like that. Or
Even just like
rogue
even just a
asset.
rogue asset, like a rogue item.
Yeah, like the first time I believe they changed it so that it had to be an item that used one hand slot.
Yes. Yeah. And then the Necronomicon was
Yeah,
like,
and then the Necronomicon
hello!
was like,
Yeah.
allow me to introduce myself.
and then they're like, okay,
They were
0
like,
to
"That's
3,
not gonna
two-hand."
work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been changed a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of fun to play with though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we have a design mistake slide.
Yeah. So yeah, I like
Classic.
it. We're gonna see a lot of this. Where when
Death
Travis,
like hell you will.
when Travis made all these slides, I noticed that on some of them, there's always one that's like, and the notable drags we gotta talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
one of
Makes
them.
it fun.
Like Sharon's Obel is a very powerful card, but we don't play with it because 1,
It's not fun.
2.
You
Is
force everyone
also
else.
not fun.
Sorry.
Not fun for me.
It entertains the notion that our fate is in hands other than our own, sir.
Yeah. But yeah, like so this card is it just gives you more experience. So this is kind of like what we also saw with that Jenny Barnes card. So obviously these were kind of like designed at the same time, right? The idea is
Yeah.
Rogue is the experience class. This changes
Yeah.
in the next cycle. But at this moment,
Immediately.
but at the moment, this was like Rogues they're going to sign a contract, and you actually kind of see some of this in like Goose once we get to Innsmouth Conspiracy. But the idea is that the Rogue is like they're going to make pacts, and these pacts might have unfortunate consequences for
Yeah.
them.
I think this card, if it were tabooed to be if you like don't get defeated, like as is, 2 extra XP, but if you are defeated, 2 less XP, or even 4 less XP, would be a lot more fun to play with.
Yeah.
Because then it would be like, no, I don't have to die for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would I have to die for you? Like,
Yeah.
you put that in your deck. You do
Yeah.
you. Do you.
Yeah.
We're not like out of the game now. If you
Yeah,
die.
because this is a little fun PBG Arkham fact. I think there was 2 cards that we played with them, and then Travis was like, "We're just gonna put a soft ban on these cards," and they were Sharon Zobel and Key of Ys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Because-
just aren't fun to play with other people.
To be fair, Kiwi's was I was the one who played it through the Path of Carcosa with Carolyn,
Yes.
which was like pretty abusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was. It was.
And like it's one of those things where now we don't have those bans, but we just like don't like we pulled out Key of Ys for like a special occasion, but we have not pulled out Sharon Zobel. Like that's
Yeah.
just not the way.
Cheat death is just like that stupid fable where the guy meets death in Damascus and runs out of the city, and then like death meets him later at a well in Samsara or wherever, and he's like, "How did you find me again?" And he's like, "Find you again? I didn't mean to see you then.
Yeah.
I was always supposed to meet you here.
Yeah, and so you can't cheat death.
You can't cheat death.
No.
It doesn't. It actually just doesn't work.
Not
The
very
card
well,
doesn't.
no.
The card doesn't do that.
There's like one very specific scenario where it does, but other than that, no, it doesn't really stop you from dying most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like not great design there.
Like, it does stop you from being defeated, but like whatever. Who cares? That's not worth 5 XP.
Yeah, you can
That's
see
worth
like
0 XP.
you can see like, and that's why I think it's nice also that you put these cards together on the slide. Apart from the reason that like like our thoughts on them here, but also the you can see that Cheat Death was designed to save you from Sharon Zobel triggering, which is a neat idea, but definitely not worth 5 XP, especially for all the things you can't take advantage of doing with it. All right, on to the Path of Carcosa campaign. I had to put Torturous Chords here as just like a perfect example of, once again, a brain test that rogues are going to get absolutely bodied by.
I think that we've played a non-zero runs of this campaign where I've had every copy of Torturous Chords in front of me, and I'm just like, I can't play the game, boys.
You're through 3 book or whatever, and you're like...
So,
like Dunwich, this Carcosa rewarded rogues because it kind of once again had like anti-specialization stuff. But this one actually had a lot of relevant enemies that you would like to like not actually fight, or and also treacheries that rogues were able to deal with their foot for really well for this.
Yeah, it's actually like incentivize you to evade enemies occasionally. Unlike the previous campaign, I guess there's only been one so far at this point. Yeah, there's some neat designs in there too.
Yeah, but again, rogues are kind of just like not stress tested in this. Like it's just basically the brain treacheries. That's how they're always stress tested.
Almost
but like,
always that.
But that's
and honestly,
yeah.
For the best that we started getting like we get like 1-2 brain all the time.
Yeah,
that's just it.
Yeah. All right, on to the Forgotten Age, and we got Finn Edwards, who, in my humble opinion, moved the needle for rogue investigators, at least in terms of from my style of play, which
are you telling me that Finn Edwards is a better investigator than Jenny Barnes and Skids O'Toole together?
Yes, he is. Yes.
So together,
Safina notwithstanding, because she is also still so unique in her own place.
Together,
right?
they have a 5 in brain. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Finn has 1 in brain though, which allowed him to have a goated stat line otherwise, right? Like you can still see kind of the rogue sensibilities that we started here with Skids, with the idea that you're going to be able to do whatever you need to do.
Fight.
Yeah. But you're going to have to work a little bit. Finn also has a really nice ability because spending an action to evade sucks. I remember I played Finn, and he kind of changed my perspective on why you would want to evade. And he was kind of like unlocking that for me. Also a very good user of lockpicks. Like 8 is a lot higher than 6. Also higher than Wendy's 7, right? So
that's true.
He actually could
he's
take
a very
advantage
bad
of it.
User of all in.
Yes.
You cannot do that.
Yeah. And that's still kind of the sticking point for Finn today, is that his deck building is kind of still just kind of stinky poo poo.
I mean, it's fine. Like his investigator card, I think, is like good enough to warrant it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't mind seeing that kind of design. Like if Tony Morgan had we can play not rogue cards 0 to 5. We can play 0 to 3 or whatever. Like Finn, and we get that piece of Dream Eater's building.
Yeah.
then like okay.
That would actually
we're starting to
definitely
see,
like scale that
yeah,
that
right,
level back.
This is so much more of a design than it is an accident that we
Yes.
think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to deck building that was like more or less, or that was like flatter sometimes, where the more class you had access to, the lower level stuff you had, because your character's more of a generalist, whereas like Dunwich Investigators obviously get 0 to 5.
Yes. Yeah. No. When I say stinky, I'm not gonna like say here that like Rogue 0 to 3 is bad. It's just like the stinky poo poo is. I just wish like his splash did something. Well, it's not really a splash. His main did something that wasn't just
like his splash
also
does
just like
something.
some Rogue
If
0405.
splash doesn't do something, then like that's a you problem. You did that.
Yeah.
Well, splash does do something. Like it,
Oh no, sorry. Like when I say the splash, I mean like the illicit splash. Like
yeah,
it's
no, like
not-
the illicit means that you can, like it
You get
lets
some
you
cards.
play higher rogue cards, just limits you which ones you can, because
Yeah.
I only want them to have access to certain parts of the card pool.
Yeah, I think that type of design is honestly kind of interesting.
I do too. I think that's a really neat way to limit which cards the investigators
Though
can
obviously, even experienced players will forget sometimes that he cannot
Never.
play 0 to 5 just because he is green.
Yeah.
play. This is my first time playing a rogue.
Yeah. All I want
Don't
is
bully
just
me.
I just want one illicit card that's like I want to play out of color. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just one. That's like a 0/4, like a level 4 illicit card, and then I'll never complain about it again. That's all I want.
Like clean sneak.
Like Clean Sneak. He should have been. We'll get to Clean Sneak. I see it's on one of the mistake slides.
Don't spoil it.
Also in this box we had Leo Anderson, who was our Rogue 02. What Leo Anderson did very well was play the weapons that rogues were not able to take advantage of in the same way. That was kind of like his big impact on the rogue class.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
he
you
was also
could,
the gun guy for a long
yeah,
time.
he was gun guy for a long time because green was where the other gun cards were.
Yeah. In this box, the two notable bangers are Lucky Cigarette Case and
There's
Lola
more than two.
Santiago.
We got like 5. They're just split up.
Yeah. But these are like, I think like,
I mean, these
Oh,
are like
what's
the always good and will probably always be good cards.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
fair.
hopefully
Yeah.
they never print allies that are better than Lola Santiago
Yeah.
because
Like,
looking at you, Janae Beauregard.
yeah.
Well, it's one of those things that like, I actually, like, if we look at Janae, because we're going to talk about her later, but I actually feel like it's in Rogue's identity at this point that they get just like good 3 experienced allies. And I think that was actually the reason why Janae was 3, because like every other Rogue 3 ally that gave 2 stats, they're 3, right? I feel like if it was Seeker, it probably would have been higher because of that. So it's one of those things because like they have Lola, she's insane. They have Delilah, who we're going to talk about. They have the one that we designed that's going to come out in the near future.
Yep.
Yeah, the brain foot one. It's going to be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, we're getting that one soon for sure.
But yeah, Lola Santiago was just another thing that unlocked, and Lucky Cigarette Case is just like also just very good for both rogues and also just as a splash card. Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, Rex can play it.
Yep.
I don't know why.
It's not fortunate that he has it. It's intentional.
It's a lie lucky. It's like not actually lucky. He just calls it lucky, but it actually does no luck.
Well, it's not. So like he can't play fortunes, which were strictly an event thing.
Yes,
Right? Like
yeah.
lucky things don't happen to him. He can have lucky things,
Yeah.
but like
They're not actually.
luck doesn't like in a given event doesn't go his way.
Yeah.
So that's why he can play it, Bryn.
No, he doesn't smoke.
My king doesesn't smoke. He treats his body like a temple.
Yeah, apart from the rampant alcoholism.
Yes,
yeah.
we don't worry about that. Everyone drank at the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, actually, it was
everyone
illegal.
smoked,
Yeah. Not Rex. My king never smoked. He'd vape like fucking crazy though today if he was around. Going on to this next one, we had another very important card in the
Battery
rogue
will
class.
explode in his hand.
I guess the maimed hand injury. Yeah. We have you handle this one. This was our first rogue Mythos mitigation, which was a great counterpoint to what came out in Carcosa for Guardians, which is let me handle this.
Yeah.
You could really just like actually picture the lightning bulb go up against in the designer's head where they're like, what if rogues did it the other way? And you just give your encounter card to someone else. It was huge. Like this card was gigantic for the class when it came out.
Yeah, somebody else is frozen in fear. That's not me.
Yeah.
That was someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody else is listening to these torturous chords. I don't know why.
Yeah, you just like shovel your frozen if you're off to gym and he still is effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And then also for the pleasure, it also just gives you a resource. So we're going to start seeing, especially coming up in the next cycle, actual ways for rogues to. I mean, actually, never mind.
We got a little ways to go.
Yeah, we have actually a while to go.
Or a slide change break.
Yeah, even if it's not even in here that it happens. But like, this is like kind of like the thing where it's like rogues are getting money, and we're going to see that this is going to actually be very valuable.
No, we have a money we have a card that cares about money in here.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help you get money.
No.
Well,
It
it does.
Kinda does.
No.
If you squint, it's like you're up. If you squint. Also going on here, we had All In, which is an incredibly powerful skill card because it can draw you 5 cards. Don't worry that Seekers can just do that at 0 now. Don't worry about that. And then we also have Ornate Bow, which was really nice because it let Skids actually have something that he could fight with. The downside is that you were still playing Skids, but it's like you were able to actually like do something.
Yep.
But it was nice that it also helped all the like Wendy Adams was able to use it really well, and then you also got to be Wendy Adams. Finn Edwards used it very well. Like this was a very nice card for the rogue class.
Yeah, it came
fight
out
with.
and you're like, oh, the foot guys can do a thing consistently, kind of.
And and also like apart even from the foot, you can actually see like the payoff that it's like rogues use this because you have that extra action that knocking the arrow is not going to be as bad. You're going to be evading the enemy, so if you can't kill it at once, you can knock the arrow still.
Yep.
Very nice design card.
Yeah, I appreciate that this uses ammo instead of something dumb like shells.
Arrows.
Not that I don't
One
love that
arrow.
card.
Yeah, but he's just like, you're like, let me go nuts with it. Yeah, I get it.
I understand.
Yeah. This next package of cards were all cards that
Good.
impacted the game. Yeah, like Skeleton Key is fast.
It is, yes. After years, I finally learned that.
I was so excited when you played in like 2 years and you just forget to play it fast, and then someone points it out and you go, damn it!
I've lost so many actions to this.
Yeah. So this was a cool way for rogues to flavorfully cheat the game, but also like do something with their 3-book. Because being up 2 on standard, which contrary to what they say, I'm pretty sure is the difficulty they designed for, is just like really being up 2 is very doable for that. We had High Roller, which if you squint, you get 3 resources. That's great. Right?
It does say gain 3 resources on it if we do not read the entirety of the card.
Yes, yeah.
If you play that stylish coat, you can make money
You
with
can
it.
make money.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be a high roller, you
You gotta
gotta
look like one.
one.
Yeah. What was really nice about High Roller is that it allowed you, like Streetwise, to use your money to actually like pass tests.
Do something.
Yeah. We also had Slip Away, which was our first showcase of freezing an enemy during them after evading them.
I believe our first example of adding 2 numbers together to do a thing. Yeah.
No, Lockpicks was our first.
Yeah. Okay, but like on an event because those are different apparently.
I mean, maybe
Yeah,
Cheap
on
Shot
the-
was first.
No,
We just
this one
didn't.
was first. Cheap Shots after.
I don't know what it is.
I'm pretty sure.
But this is like the first one that didn't suck. Then.
Yes, yeah, and it's also like it
wasn't
was,
an item.
and you actually see them now use this evade lock, like freeze them for a turn, as like the new standard is like this is the deal 1
This is
extra
like the
damage,
payoff,
discover
yeah.
1 additional clue, and like there's a reason why Slip Away was played, and these other ones weren't. Hatchet Man, yeah, it's also just like a good
It's
card.
kind of neat.
Yep,
Yeah.
It's a weird, vicious blow.
yep.
What? What are you looking at me for?
Are we gonna have people yell at us about Fence again every time?
Yeah, probably.
Why?
'cause
It's
not
fucking
good.
bad. It's so bad.
Like illicit.
It's been bad.
I wish
Yeah.
illicit tribal was better. Like in any way.
I'm picturing it now. Me as
honestly.
Finn playing my level 4 Guardian illicit card.
I've watched Bryn play this card like 3 times. Every time he's like, "This is bad."
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is very hard to get the equity back out of it. Like
Yeah.
3 money is a lot, and action also a lot. It doesn't even like do the part that you consistently want of making them cheaper. It's just like no, it's fast, which is sort of like making it cheaper, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like you can buy Joey the Rat.
Mhm.
And he'll do this for you.
It's true. When
But,
this
like without exhausting or doing anything else or limiting you to illicit items or anything like that.
It's also soak damage for you.
Yep.
Cool guy.
in the context of when this came out, there weren't like too many, if at all, illicit cards that you really wanted to do things with.
Like,
And-
who cares if your Switchblade costs 0 or 1? It doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything either way.
And while there are illicit cards that come out each cycle for rogues, because usually their guns are illicit, they're not really like... It's like every like second or third cycle where we get like illicit support. So it's like one of those things that, because of that, especially when this first came out, it wasn't used. Decorated Skull, even though it's a skull and skulls are sick as shit, was like super slow. And while we had some things like Treasure Hunter and Hired
Such
Muscle,
a trap.
yeah,
It is.
yeah, while we had like Treasure Hunter and Hired Muscle, didn't actually like, do anything like enough to make this impact. And then we had Trench Coat, which just gave you +1 during evasion attempts, which like not terrible, wasn't worth the deck slot that much at the time.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, Kukri's better than this.
Hard disagree. I would ever consider playing Trenchcoat in my deck. Kukri is like, if I'm here to kill enemies and I bring a Kukri, like, you go ahead and hit me. It's okay. Like, I got it coming. Clearly something's loose.
Like, Kukri, I would bring Kukri if I needed more weapons and I don't have any other options. There would have to be very, very few cards left in my card pool for me to ever consider playing Trenchcoat.
Never mind, that's not the video.
I would rather play Kukri than Trenchcoat, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I would rather play Trenchcoat than Kukri, and not just because it looks cool.
Kukri looks cool. It's good.
Yeah.
It's like a boomerang knife.
It's like an axe knife.
It's a boomerang knife.
That's for like chopping people's limbs
You
off.
can
and
like
stuff.
throw it at guys, and then it comes back to you when you go over and pull it out of them.
Or parts
Guys,
of
just you
trees or
wait till
whatever.
Hemlock Vale. You're gonna see a preview of what's going on right now.
Uh-oh.
All right. On to the Forgotten Age campaign. This was the first campaign that really challenged the foot symbol, which was great for rogues because like they didn't care. They were like, wow,
that, yeah.
finally, me, I'm in charge. What also was really beneficial was that we had like the vengeance mechanic here, which rogues were really good at circumventing as well. I think this was like a very good campaign to bring a rogue to. It's like the still recommendation for Forgotten Age is bring a rogue or someone with high foot, and it's very good because of that. After that, we got our first return to what was actually released after Threads of Fate, and we got a level 2 hot streak, which was really nice because it allowed you to pace out your upgrades.
You did not have to pay the 8
Yep.
to put 2 of them in your deck.
Yeah.
You could pay 4 to put 2 of them in your deck now.
Yeah, and then like 6 to do, or 4 to do the other 2 later. Yeah,
Operate
Yep.
your deck.
yeah, very
Also,
nice.
people who had access to Rogue Splash could play this card.
Yep, yep.
Like Leo DeLuca or Wendy Adams, who does everything that Rogue does, but better most of the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a fine economy card, or at least it was at the time for 2 experience.
Yep. And then in the Return to Dunwich Legacy, we had an upgraded Contraband, which allowed you to double assets or place ammo or supply on assets and draw
This
cards.
one's still sick.
Yeah.
So
Doubling
good.
up things, there's a lot of good things you can combo with it.
Double is a powerful word.
We did it on our in the gameplay video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we actually did that in this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
it
nice
also
card.
costs 1 less money, which is huge.
Yes.
Like the difference between 3 and 4 money is so much.
Leo Anderson, when this came out, he could do a lot of good stuff with it because he had a lot of good guns that you would like to double stuff on as well. But yeah, this card is still very much played today. And we have done our first slide change break almost exactly at 1 hour. That's crazy. It just happens that way, like each time.
We can't change it.
All right, so we are going to go to the next cycle of cards with Preston Fairmont. Once we are done lagging, once this changes, there we go. Preston Fairmont was here. Preston Fairmont was a really cool rogue when he was released
Here's an
because
exciting
One.
spoiler.
yes, yeah. Ones across. So the rules are, if you have 1s or 2s as your stats, you're going to be good because you have some sort of gimmick. Amanda, notwithstanding, Bryn, don't worry, she sucks.
cool.
But if you have 3s in your stats, you're bad. Like that's kind of like the thing. With Preston Fairmont, you see those 1s and you're like, something's going on here. And this guy gets 5 money a turn. Like that's really, really nice.
Loops back around if you got 0.
Well, he also gets the
stats,
resource
though.
one, the upkeep. Yeah. So it's like he gets 5 money at the start of each of his turns.
It is.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like almost enough money to pay Daddy's debts.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
I do love the if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's like you look.
If your inheritance is giving you $4 every turn, why didn't your dad just pay off the debt?
That's corrupt.
Oh, because
It's like
they're-
2.5
because
days.
they're debt.
It's like 2.5 turns
It
worth
is.
of the
Well, no,
inheritance.
it's actually literally just like driving down a road. Preston gets paid out so much money from the inheritance. They really just want like $2. Yeah. And he's like, "You must understand, this is gonna ruin me." Preston had a little caveat where you could not play illicit cards, like with Rex's No Fortune. It's like the restrictions are always very fun, I think, for deck building.
Yeah.
But it made like Fence that much more of like what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
But Preston Fairmont was really cool, and a big part of that is because he, like Safina, was very event focused in his build. And in Circle Undone, we got one of the best event payoffs in the form of double. As Travis said, if a card says double on it, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
This card says it 4 times.
Powerful.
Yeah. So like with Safina and Preston both really enjoyed this card due to the fact that they had events they wanted to play a lot of times or the money to play those events a lot of times, which was really cool. I remember when we did one of our first White Elephants and you built me a Safina double big money deck, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that too. Wow.
Yeah.
I think was that the Mark lightsaber run?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
We haven't done one recently because we all know that it's just going to be sled dogs all the way down. Like,
Not gonna build when he does a sled dog deck.
Well, no, whoever we get Bryn's deck is what, yeah. It's just
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of boring. I guess
You don't have to build a sled dog deck and do it.
Yeah, but then you don't, and somebody's like, "What? No sled dogs?" And you're like, "You can't win.
Yeah.
You just can't win."
Yeah.
We're going to get to some of the events that came out in this cycle in a few, but first we're going to talk about the multi-class cards that Rogue was able to have at level 0 to share with another class, but also upgraded.
They know it's a multi-class.
Yeah. They're both pretty solid actually.
Yes. 45 Thompson, while not as, like, the Rogue version is not as good as the Guardian one.
As I recently found out, yes.
That's why it costs 1 less to play.
It still is a gun that gives you +2 and +1 damage, so, like, there is still that going
Not
on.
bad.
The only downside is that, like, you kind of just could, like, stick with the level 0-1 unless you're playing Dream Eaters, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, the rest of that's a lot of text to have it like not really do anything.
Yeah. And then the upgraded Tennessee Sour Mash. The nice about Tennessee Sour Mash is some more Mythos protection, which is really nice. And it also is fast,
Yeah,
on the acid
slotless
side.
too.
Yep. And it allows you to also fight with +3, which is a really nice number as well.
+3 and +1 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the +3 for a skill test on a treachery card can help a lot of...
You could be frozen in fear, but like, you know, drink you some of this good whiskey and
Yeah.
Not gonna be so scared no
not
more.
gonna be so scared.
Yeah. Yeah, so these were very nice cards for... Notably, Preston couldn't play any of these.
No, he actually could not
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. He had like a lot of support from
He did have
Yes.
he did have a lot of stuff that he could do.
And also, in all fairness, like, I know there's a lot of people who don't like it when an investigator can't play a card that's in their own box, but there's also skids. There's always skids. There's always Winifred, like, in the Assumption, and then also, like, every other thing. Yeah, like, every other
Finn could play
investigators,
cards.
like...
It's fine if they want to design cards that do not fit into
Yep.
like that are not like this is Parley tribal. Like cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Going on, we had the Tarot, the Rogue Tarot. Everyone got a Tarot. Rogue's was Foot, which when this came out was
Second
not.
worst.
Yeah, it was not it. It was not it.
It's like it was like pretty okay because it was very hard to actually get Foot at this
Yeah.
point in time without spending a bunch of XP on it.
Yeah, there wasn't a huge payoff for having lots of foot though.
Yes, yeah, that was
No.
kind of like the.
No, there was not. But sometimes just having like 5 or 6 so that you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
You don't have to actually work to evade guys.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure too. Like even like with Finn, I was like, give me Lola and the Moon as a one of, right, and like, just have 6 and be like. I mean, like, it is Mythos protection too, but it is true because there was no payoff. It was like harder to as easily put in as Mystic, Seeker, or Guardian one. Those were like when these came out. We're like put these in here.
Let's go.
Yeah,
That's the
auto
one I
include
do.
at the time, and like still kind of are these days, where it's
If I have one experience, I'm gonna put it in.
yeah.
So I don't have to think. It saves me my brain processing time.
You gotta have a reason not to do it. Like I'm banking XP for something else, or I'm buying something else.
Yeah,
or whatever. Right.
The events that work really well with Double in this one in Preston were the Intel Report and the Small Favor. These are also cards that are just like Intel Report is just like a really nice card, and like Small Favor is just if you're having like the money for it is also like a very efficient card to just like when the game is trying to trick you, you can trick the game. Additionally, we also got Well Connected in Circle Undone, which was like the big money payoff. That's like whoa, I can hoard my money. And I can like use that,
with it.
Yeah,
get him out of here. We don't need to play Dario for this anymore.
Yeah, like pretty much right. Like 5 resources equals Dario. What's turn? Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
That's a lot less than 14 last time.
It is. I was just crunching the numbers. I think it's like almost 3 times less. They also got Another Day, Another Dollar, which is a good way for you to just like, if you have the experience late in the campaign, we would put this in just to like have a bit more consistency in your starting resource pool.
Yeah, you can just kind of hit the ground going instead of having to find the cards to make you the money to do your thing.
And like, while I understand that like generally 2 resources, they usually equate to 1 card, I feel like this probably could have been 3 too, just to. I never feel happy about playing it, but I'm happy to play Studious every time. It has to be worse.
Yeah, you can tell because of the color on the border.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of have to be worse, we got Henry Wan here.
My guy.
So, this guy was bad for a very long time. And I wouldn't go out on a limb to say he's like very good now, but he is much better. Yeah.
He's definitely playable.
Yeah. I think as well that like he now exists in like the ceiling on Henry Wan is that like the big payoff where you watch someone gain 14 resources and draw 14 cards and then you go, all right, but I think I'm done playing with you.
He's like very Robert Pattinson, right?
Yes.
Like, well, you were trash.
Now,
I'm pretty okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go watch a movie because you're in it, but I'm not going to be like, that guy sucks.
Yeah. He played Edward in Twilight.
Yeah. Sorry, he played Edward in Twilight. Most recently, he's been like Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, like,
okay.
So, for the campaign, my favorite thing is finding that one treachery that just ruins Bryn's day. And that is Realm of Torment.
It does seem like there's one every cycle, huh?
Yeah, the Realm of Torment.
So this is, again, another brain test that, like, any treacheries that stay in your threat area and you have to do a brain test is going to hurt the rogues, right? Like, that's just, like, how it's going to go.
Man. This one's so much worse.
Yes. Yeah. Because you can't, like, it's like one of those things where it changes the future.
The room anymore. You're just like, forever.
Yeah, and it's not the same thing each time. Like in Frozen in Fear, you know you're always going to have one action less, probably.
You know it's coming. This one, it's like, it could be anything. It could be like take a damage. It could be we all float down here.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool, but I don't want to be down here. And they're like, nah, I'm going to eat you now.
Yeah.
You
have to throw out yourself.
This is a good design. I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, fair's fair. I would like to be worried about what card I might draw out of the Mythos deck sometimes, because not always anymore.
Yeah. Rogues also do very well in campaigns with like a repeatable enemy that's hard to kill, and this one has one.
Impossible?
Yep. Yeah, well, he's hard. He's easy to kill in one scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, impossible. Yeah. And then there's also Racked, which reads like a traditional rogue treachery that'd be scared of, but I actually like what the designers did with this one, where if there was an evaded witch enemy, you could automatically get rid of it, which means rogues had a way to get rid of it. But Realm and Torment, you're still on that ride, baby.
Preston could ever get out from under it?
Yes, yeah. By asking someone else to evade it for him, please.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, there's the event you could play. I didn't make the list, but like the
Decoy,
Yeah, Decoy.
Yeah.
You had that going for you.
Yeah. But I think the notable thing, too, is that I think it's a really cool design thing. There's the Return to Circle Undone campaign, where they switch a lot of the brain tests for foot tests. So it's kind of cool that, like, the challenge, like, for the rogues change from one to the other. After Circle Undone, we had Return to the Path of Carcosa, where we had the upgraded Stealth.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, so this card, I think you only played in Keimani and you don't touch it anywhere else. So like when this card came out, it wasn't that great.
I mean, even in Keimani, it doesn't really do very much, does it?
Oh no, it's incredible in Keimani.
Why?
Well, because you don't have to spend an action you only have to like evade once, not spend two.
Don't you have to use the action on your card?
No, it's a reaction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But don't they have to be exhausted?
Yeah, so you evade it once, and then you use this to automatically evade it at -2, so you're essentially getting like +4 with your book, yeah.
Still doesn't seem good.
Yeah, it's but other than that, like this card, like stealth. The problem with stealth is that like, at least at our table when you're playing 3 players, disengaging from an enemy means that like suddenly Travis is holding
Yeah, I
it.
kind of hate this card.
Yeah, but you play this in like a skids deck where you're playing blackjack, and then you're like, I'll disengage from this guy. I'm gonna hit him now.
Yeah.
Like, there's some niche things for it, but most of the time it's like if someone brings us to the table and then like gives like you disengage the enemy and someone else ends up with it, you're kind of like, why don't you just play a card that makes you good at evading all the time, man? Like, just actually evade the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like the alternative, which we don't talk about on this channel because no one plays it, is like solo play. You can like get away from it if they don't have Hunter. You can just be like goodbye. But even then, like for us, we don't have a lot of experience with this one here, mostly because in multiplayer formats it is pretty miserable. Going on to Dream Eaters, and we have the man,
Moni Dorgan.
the man that just has.
He doesn't stop.
So rogue weapons, as you might have noticed, they're probably, most of the rogue investigators at this point have 1, 2, or mostly 3 fist. And most of their weapons are designed around it. Let's go back to Switchblade 2 from Dunwich Legacy. You get +2 fist if you succeed by 2, deal +1 damage. Skids, Finn, Jenny, all attacking at 5. So they have to try a little bit. Might need to commit in more.
Attacks at 6?
Yeah.
He's got that going for him?
Yeah. Tony Morgan, 7.
And more times.
Yep.
Yep.
And he gets the actions to do it too. Tony Morgan kind of just like disrupted the rogue weapons like crazy. In a way that is fun once. And then like after that it's just suddenly becomes like, unless you try something like crazy with him, it's just like someone's doing the action machine, right? And they're just like doing those actions and just pulling out.
I wouldn't mind playing like campaigns on hard or expert or something and just like building the best decks that we could. But also I don't mind not doing that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like it's one of those things where like he's just like so good. He's very good. Notably though, we did not think he was that good when we first spoiled him, because I looked back in the past, we gave him like a B in our first rating for him. But I think it was just because we didn't have the experience with him of seeing him use those rogue weapons that were already available to him at the point that this came out, and just being like, wait a minute, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Yeah.
No, he's only gotten better with time.
Yes. Yeah. And every time we see a new weapon, Travis is always like, but just imagine Tony with it. Yeah.
I do like
He's gonna love that Luger. He's gonna love that Luger. Garrote wire. Reload it. Tony, stop! And he's like, I can't. Do you know who's also
I don't
rogue?
know how.
Mandy Thompson is also a rogue investigator. Yeah, she can play some rogue.
It's not even her worst option.
Yeah, and she also is part of the reason for a taboo of a card we're going to see later on in this list.
She got a couple cards tabooed, but like one rogue one in particular.
But I mean, in all fairness, that 3 Aces taboo, it's, I mean, they know different now. That would be an effect that would be removed, I think, as printed. I agree it's more fun if it isn't, because like if you're trying to do something fair with it, it's like pretty reasonable. But yeah. So Mandy Thompson, also a rogue.
Yeah. So.
These are some banger cards from this cycle. There's actually, I mean, there's a good chunk of cards from this cycle.
Years,
actually, it's very good. Like all these rogue cards, there's not a poo-poo slide. They're all super playable here.
No, Dream Years like just has good cards in it. Like.
But then why do we always choose it in our draft and then say we hate it?
Because it doesn't have good level 0 cards.
Yeah.
They're all like.
It is true. Yeah, they're like experience
but they're all
cards.
like really good.
And I think also, I think that's pretty fair. Yeah, because we actually haven't seen a single level 0 card.
Yeah, this was this is like a kind of a supplemental cycle deck building wise, but there was a lot of like level 1 and 2 cards.
Russ, did you break in? So Delilah O'Rourke is like Lola Santiago and that ally that's going to be spoiled in the next cycle that we designed. The +1 fist, +1 foot, exhaust to deal damage to enemies, deal more if they're evaded, is very nice. Garrote wire, Very good in Tony Morgan.
It's very good most places.
Yes,
actually.
just-
There's a lot of 3 health enemies that are like hit you once then kill you,
Yeah.
or like 1 health
With enemies that you can
you're
just like kill.
You
Yeah.
never existed.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have haste as well, which is very good in Tony Morgan, but also like all
Yeah,
rogues
yeah.
as well, and also it's a level 2-1, so it works really well across the board.
Yeah.
I think that's also what really helps is there's a lot of good like experience cards, but also like level 2 experience cards. Like all of these
fit
except for
into a lot of
Delilah.
decks,
Yeah. Swift Reload worked very well in Tony Morgan, but also like Leo Anderson loved this card,
Yep.
right? Anyone who's using guns really loves it, so there was some really nice stuff here. You're going to start noticing that like at this point, rogue cards are going to start.
Yeah, they kind of found their stride with them, and they
Yes.
do things, and
Yeah.
then when they don't do things, I mean, part of it was also just a culmination of like them slowly introducing cards like Lockpicks and, you know, like Intel Report and Small Favor and things that can like actually help you advance the game. Where cards like Haste, if this was printed way back in Dunwich, you'd be like, this kind of sucks.
I get an extra swing with my switchblade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes to even just like the thing I've been saying throughout this. As the combo class gets more pieces, they get better,
Yep.
right? 3 aces. Russ, what did you do?
Switch this side.
What one were we on? There we go. There we go.
No.
What have you
How
done?
did you do that? 3 aces worked very well with Mandy Thompson.
Yeah.
Works very well with a card that also comes out in the Winifred Habbam set in the future. But this was mostly like a Mandy a card that was very problematic in her when as printed. But that's also a Mandy problem. But I do think effects like this nowadays would just be printed with remove.
Yep.
They've gotten a
Yeah, they
lot.
had that one taboo list where they just like kind of slaughtered a bunch of cards,
Yeah,
stapled, removed from the game onto them,
yeah, yeah.
and with good reason.
Also in this cycle is Bryn's favorite card.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did this do when this came out, Bryn? Why was this card so impactful for?
Because I was playing Safina Rousseau. And this is an asset that says event on it.
Yeah, yeah.
It does event things.
That's what it says. Yeah, it just like gives you more use out of your events. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of green events that commit for double pip.
Or one of two.
Yeah,
Yep. So there's yeah.
Easy mark.
yeah, like Easy Mark, also pictured.
Yeah, gets you a lot of incremental value.
Yeah, and the Guardian of the Crystallizer is like the slowest moving, like, no,
Yeah, please
come
don't.
back. And you're like, fuck you, and you kick him in the face with your energy legs or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like,
And what's really cool too is that the Guardian of the Crystallizer also now, at least in the current rogue state, is also really nice because there's a lot of cards in the rogue class that now care about enemies being there, right? So like you can turn your events, which also happen to parlay,
into
into
cards.
skill cards, yeah, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Easy Mark is just like kick-ass economy. It's
just-
like
it's
it's
just
just
good.
good. Yep.
It's even better when you're like, you see this idiot I painted a picture of?
Yes.
I'm gonna go take all his money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
yeah.
take all his money again.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just paint a picture of money? Shut up.
We also had Joey the Rat and Gregory Gry. I flipped him on the slide for some reason, just because I was
fair.
feeling a little bit naughty. Gregory Gry is like very serviceable level 0 ally economy, like especially like with lockpicks and other rogue things we got going on.
Yeah, he's
Rogue-
actually terrible at gambling.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rogue does not have very strong level 0 allies, and Gregory Gry is like just
He's
fine.
one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
He's fine. He's like 3 merges. He's like a guy. He's got 3 merges. He cashes them.
Yeah, I know.
Joey the Rat, when he came out, we really only saw him in the
Yeah, we didn't
in
really
that
do too
Tony
much,
deck that you
yeah.
built.
Which
Yeah.
was good, like because it was a Tony deck. It didn't. The rest didn't matter.
I mean, Joey was like pretty.
was
like,
like-
Yeah, 'cause there
like,
wasn't-
degenerate in
Fine,
that, but like it was
like,
mostly Tony
yeah.
being good. Yes.
And it's one of those things where like there weren't like a lot of items that you were able to really like take advantage of Joey's ability with.
Yeah,
but
and then they printed Bob.
yes, and then Bob came, and everything changed. Notably, though, you're 100% right, and I can't not see now. This is basically just fence. But
It's so like yeah, it is actually just like, what does this card even do?
yeah, it is. It is actually.
yeah, he's a fence, but he's like actually good enough for people to know
Yeah,
his
he-
name,
Yeah,
to have
Yeah.
a nickname.
yeah, yeah,
He's not just like a guy.
yeah, yeah.
No, he's like the other card is like a fence. This is like the fence.
Yeah.
All right, and then when we get to the campaign itself, like some of the previous ones we've seen, this rewards foot and evading in a lot of cool ways.
Yep.
There's not really a notable brain treachery either in this one. There's like the ones that care. It's like the rotting remains and the frozen in fear. Sorry, not the frozen and the grasping hands. But because you can commit anything to it, I think rogues are really rewarded because they generally do that more than other classes do. So like it's not really a challenging campaign for rogues that much.
I can't believe Lumbering Gug made it, but this Cats from Saturn didn't.
Oh, well, it's because I try not to pull. I try to pull from basic encounter sets.
Okay.
But no, that replace that with Knight Rider. I mean, like Knight Riders and Cats from Saturn are two good examples of like the payoff for that. Yeah, I try not to go too far into the campaign. But yeah. But it is that thing, like this is the example that also Cats of Saturn, it's a swarming enemy that you discard swarms. You basically just kill an enemy by evading them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, on to another book promo. We got the Dexter Drake and the Blood of Balshandor.
Yeah, this is our first appearance of Dexter Drake, and it was he was good, even with the card pool before. I mean, that's partially because he just plays like assets.
Yeah.
Didn't really need the support from his cycle of Innsmouth.
No, Molly Maxwell is also just like fun.
She's fun and good, and like a little bit miserable to play.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly fun and good.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was cool to also see Dexter, because there was on some more PBG Arkham lore, Bryn always had the worst luck with Dexter. Always died. Always, Russ. Always died.
Always.
Yeah, it was super cool. I'd usually get a spell that didn't suck and then increase my, like, whatever book it was, I guess. It was like spell casting in that game.
Not in the Arkham,
And then, like,
the card game, in like Eldritch Horror and second edition.
Yeah, in the Arkham Files universe.
Yeah.
And then Dexter came out, and it wasn't, Bryn didn't die all the time. It was great. Yeah. It also is kind of cool that, like, at least for us as players, like our like the investigators that we liked in those games actually have a pretty good hit rate of also transferring over to investigators we like in this game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because like
I love playing Rex in Eldritch Horror.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis will play Rex Murphy in any game that has Rex Murphy.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So
People, there's zero expectations when you do something. Everyone's like, yeah, good job, Rex.
We also got Return to the Forgotten Age, which had Decorated Skull 3, which is...
This is a design mistake slide.
is the design mistake that Leo Anderson can't play it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, Decorated Skull 3 actually that's a very powerful effect, right? Like, you're going to be killing enemies, and just drawing 3 and gaining 3 for one action is very powerful. But... Leo Anderson would have loved this card more than anything in the world, and he cannot play it. And then Backpack.
This card also looks like a pile of garbage next to Lucky Cigarette Case 3.
Oh yeah, 100. Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and we're gonna get to Lucky Cigarette Case
probably
Key.
be 2 XP.
Actually, very soon. Yeah,
Yes, very
100%. And Backpack 2 is just like insane.
It's too much.
Especially because like
Too much looking.
if you look at it compared to Backpack, like you look at Backpack 0, you're like, oh shit, it's unplayable.
To experience like double it.
Double it is
Everything?
Double it, have it, and double it.
Yeah, so like it's 4 times the backpack of Backpack 0.
Yeah, which is not like that should be like probably not 2 XP if it's 4 times, but
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing that really bothers me about Backpack 2 is that it's in Return 2s, which are not, as far as we know, going to see further printings or reprints. So maybe hopefully they change that or something because, yeah. But this was a very good card in everybody, and Rogues also really loved it. Mm-hmm. We also had our first parallel rogue investigator in the form of Parallel Skids. And
He was the second parallel.
yes, it was
investigator
Daisy was the
total.
first one, yeah.
Yeah.
And he is pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's very good at big money. I think it depends on how you build your Preston, but I think Parallel Skids is probably like the best to do it unfairly. I think Preston does it very fairly, and I think Skids probably does it
Preston's
better unfairly.
like probably a little more consistent.
Yes.
Just because you always get the money, whereas like you could directly get screwed out of your money with Skids.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he probably has a higher ceiling. It's fair.
Yeah. But what was really nice about this one is that I also like that they bring in the advanced signatures with these because they make them like playable for on the forms of On the Lam, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just imagine putting that under the Crystallizer, Bryn. Book, foot, wild, wild.
I'm sure Bryn's done that
I
at some
actually
point.
don't need to imagine putting On the Lamb under the Crystallizer because I just commit it as a skill card every time. Like it's,
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. All right, and now we're going to go to the Investigator starter decks with Winifred Habbam, and I'm going to just
this is
take
like
Russ.
a TSM turning point.
Yeah, Russell, you're going to prison, buddy.
Oh no.
I've actually played this one and had a good time doing it. I played her through Edge of the Earth.
Because she's referenced on the.
Yeah. She's got like a really neat sort of play pattern to her with the whole card draw thing and wanting to just really outspeed the game. Card pool is garbage. You just get rogue cards. But has the most rogue stat line possible. 1 brain, 5 foot, and then 3 in the other
And
stats.
a pile of trash.
Yep. Yeah. The Investigator deck that she came with introduced a ton of cards that really rounded out the class and just made it like a real well-rounded class. It allowed you to fight with investigators who weren't Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And you could investigate more consistently, especially with the event and bigger money focused investigators.
Pilfers out of a drug.
It is, yeah. And yeah, it also pushed a lot of the skill-oriented cards that Rogue had before, kind of like quick thinking and all. And they had a couple of them, but they didn't really get the sort of, not really support, but just better, more members for those decks.
Yeah. And like Winifred is a very impactful investigator, but the player cards that came out in this starter deck were insane for the rogue class. Like, we're about to look at like a shit ton of bangers back to back here. So, and then Sharpshooter 3.
That's the design. You know what that slide is.
All right. So let's start with the weapons that came in this box, which is the Mausers and the Beretta. The Mauser is a huge gun for the rogue class because like it's good.
Yeah, it just like it says too many things on it for it not to be good.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers and words. Yeah.
Like succeed by 2, but the upgraded one gives you the 2.
Yeah.
Even if you don't succeed by the 2, you still score the damage.
I mean, you still have to succeed, but yeah.
Yeah, like obviously you're succeeding all the time because that's how this game works.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never try tests and fail.
Never.
Well, no, that's just, why would you do that? It's bad.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And the Beretta is just like that, but like, I don't know, maybe if you had a better amp that went up to a bigger number.
Yeah.
It's just bigger.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
Like
it's
2 and
basically
11.
level 4 Mauser, just flavored differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't give you money, but whatever.
Yeah, no, they're just a very nice card, and they're like usually the weapons that you are very easy to just put into your rogue fighter deck and just be like Leo Anderson loves them too. Like there's just a lot of good stuff that comes with it because 5 ammo is a lot on a gun. Like it's a lot, and then
five
lot of
bullets
shots.
is a lot.
It's 10 damage.
and then like also like it also pays you money is very nice. Like if you succeed by 2, which you probably will, because again, why wouldn't you?
Because you're skids.
To help support this, we also had Lonnie Ritter, and while Leather Jacket is not like a
A motorbike or something that would reasonably be fixed by a mechanic.
Or like a good card, just like in a vacuum.
yeah, I put it on here just because of it came with Lonnie to showcase that you had something like in the box to actually use her ability on.
Yeah.
But like what Lonnie is really nice for is that +1 fist. Like that's what's really nice. Like it is nice to have like horror soak because rogues, in theory, as we've been talking about, fail more brain tests because of their low brain. It's nice to have that as well. But her +1 fist means that you use your Mausers better, you use your Switchblade better, you use your Derringer better if you're playing with that. Like these are all things that Lonnie was really helpful for when she came out.
Just like a lot of cognitive dissonance between being a mechanic and what she does.
Yes, yeah. As we talked about, I think
not very
earlier in
poorly
Rogue
flavored.
Week,
It's not right.
if she was just a tailor, it would have been that much
Would've made
cooler.
more-
Yeah.
It would have made more sense.
Just a big burly tailor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Onto the clue side, we had a level 0 Lockpicks, which is not like great.
It's a little
But
shaky, but it's a
It's
solid
fine for
option for
scenario
a
one.
level 0
Yeah.
deck.
it also was like a good thing. There's always those cards that are nice to just be like there to remind you to upgrade. Like that was also what Lockpicks was there for.
Yeah.
But there's also Pilfer, which might remind you of Backstab from back in the day.
They have the same number word on them.
They do have the same number word on them. This is a very good card for a rogue's ability to get clues. And we also see in the form of the upgraded Pilfer, I believe the start, or I don't know when, once again, Cheap Shot I don't know because it's not as impactful as these other ones. The returning to your hand events if you succeed by enough.
I think
this
Cheap Shot came out in this, I want to say.
I think that does sound right.
Yeah, we also got
We got the upgrade versions of some of them.
like the upgraded version of the 3-cost damage one is in here. Right?
Oh, Backstab would be in here too.
it's in
Yeah, I
this
think
one.
so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that
like,
one's not as prolific. You have better way to steal damage for the most part, so.
yeah, and that's the
Unless you don't. Because there are no better ways.
We just did a slide. Like 3 cards that are better than that.
Well, I mean, no. We didn't just do a slide.
If it was 2 ago.
Crazy.
You guys ready for that Feast of Hemlock Vale slide? You'll know it when it's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like this was I really like the mechanic of the events returning to their hand with a caveat. I think that's a really cool part of the rogue pool that is
Yeah. I
very
like that.
fun with
That's
these
good
ones.
design.
Going on to some of these cards that help Winnie, but also are just like nice across the board for rogues. Nimble, very good move, right? Like being able to just evade an enemy and then run away from it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, honestly, this is what like Elusive should have been.
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably like this would be a better Corsa design than Elusive was.
Yeah. Sneak By, we didn't play it too much when it first came out because we were still very much in the evade bad. But now we kind of started like evade has become more of a thing that you can just like shut down an enemy, leave that enemy, or like have ways to pay off.
Yeah.
And Sneak By has improved from that. And Manual Dexterity is just like a lot of cards because
Cards.
a lot of evade is low, and then there's also now a lot of payoffs to use your foot to your advantage in the rogue class.
Yeah, it's card advantage for something you already want to be doing, right? Like you're going to be succeeding by a lot if you're playing rogue.
Yeah.
So.
Also, as a side note, if you're watching this video and I know there's people out there who don't like that we call it foot, never tell us because it just makes us stronger.
You know, yeah, like honestly, like it's not gonna change. It's not gonna change.
Yeah, we've been calling it foot for like 7 years.
We've been calling it foot before this game came out.
Since Eldator, yeah. It's in our so it makes us that much more powerful. So
Yeah, you can't give Justin any more power.
yeah. All right, speaking of more power, how about Chuck Fergus?
This guy's like so cool, but I hate him.
He's a really cool build around, but he was very inconsistent when he came out. It was tough to get him into a campaign. Like, it was super cool when it worked, especially with all of the tricks and tactics and stuff that came in this box, but you had to get 10 experience to get both copies in your deck, and then you also had to like find him, and Rogue doesn't have the greatest card draw.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the flavor on this guy is also kind of awesome, where like every trick and tactic is like you doing something to somebody. So like he's just like, oh, you need to break into that house? Yeah, hang on, I gotta break in the car.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like helping out.
Yeah, you need to go like stab that guy. You go over there and yell at him, and
I'll do the stabbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, let's do that.
Yeah. But he was. I know Bryn played a lot with him.
He's a lot of fun to play with. He's a lot of not fun to play with in your deck and not have one in play.
Yes. Yeah. And then we also had an upgraded Liquid Courage, which, like the first Liquid Courage, I never blink if someone plays it. But I think a cool thing about the Liquid Courage is that the design, like the point of the card changes in the upgrade,
That's exactly why it's here. I think it's a really neat design choice to have it fulfill a different niche for the one experience.
Yes, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's another card that does something like that. I think this is the only one.
Yeah.
Oops. You mean like a shit to not shit? to like actually functional?
So one of them is like retarget your missed attack to a different enemy at your location, and one of them is don't miss your attack.
Yes, yeah. It's just another lucky.
I mean, when you say it like that, that makes oops sound better.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, as mentioned, the design mistake one. And even going beyond the design mistake, I mean, obviously, we've talked a lot about both Sharpshooter and Lucky Cigarette Case on this channel. But Lucky Cigarette Case is...
Looks at too many cards. You touch too many cards.
You touch too many cards, and it also is just like a perfect payoff to all like the stuff we've seen about combining skills together. It's a very efficient card, very good for the rogues.
Yeah, it's
also
like way
works
too easy to pass a skill, like a test by like 12.
You
or
also
whatever.
you also look at like what the allies we've talked about in the form of Delilah O'Rourke, Lola Santiago, Dario Elamine, 2 stat boosts. You usually put those together.
Well, I mean, he's actually 0, but
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I think
and also like well connected, right? Like
yeah.
I think the base issue of Lucky Cigarette Case is like a problem that is becoming increasingly prolific in card games, especially as power creep increases over their lifetimes. Is it's like an engine and a payoff in one card.
Yeah.
Where it pays off you succeeding by a bunch and also sets you up for the next one.
yeah. So like this is one of the things that I'm honestly surprised they haven't just tabooed it to like max.
3,
I mean,
5.
I think probably 5 is probably the. I think for 3 experience,
So-
5 is probably.
Bad news and good news.
Yeah.
Good news. Next White Elephant deck, not going to be a Sled Dog deck.
Okay.
Bad news, it's going to be a Sharpshooter deck.
Oh yeah, I'd do that. I'd do that.
Going to play like some sort of Safina, Rudy Tooty, point and shooty.
I mean,
Like-
Bryn and I still also want to do the whole thing where we we do the deck where we get a Lucky Cigarette Case under Mandy's control.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick, wouldn't it? In like the gross way, not in the hype
yeah,
way. Yeah.
It would be perfect for that.
No.
Skids.
That's actually the one that we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the reason why Sharpshooter, yeah, well, you take it,
So,
Bryn.
yeah, Sharpshooter sucks because anyone who would want to play it needs to be non-functional without it.
Yeah.
Like the rest of your deck has to not work without it. So I think what it really wants is like an on your own treatment,
Be permanent.
where like we get one that's permanent and probably
Exceptional.
costs like maybe
8.
I don't think it needs to cost like 6 or 8, but
Yeah.
like something like that.
I mean, for it to be permanent, it should cost 6 or 8.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good. Even if it were, I think it's still not like an awesome
Like this
card.
version, admittedly, it's not good, but like as it is, it's 3 experience. Like you're paying 6 experience for them because you want.
Yeah,
both
it's 3
copies
experience,
and-
but this is worth no experience.
No,
I wouldn't pay 1 to put this in my deck.
well, it's because it's bad and inconsistent. It's not. It's not the fault of the power of it isn't you.
No, anyway, the
experience
actual
part of
cost
it.
is irrelevant. I think like that's just what it wants
Yeah,
It does
100%.
need to be
Yeah.
permanent. Yes.
in order to be a functional card.
Yeah. Because like if you can't if you're built around it but you don't draw it, it's
Yeah.
like catastrophic.
Yeah,
And
like,
not in the sense that like Chuck Fergus like
No.
you feel when Chuck Fergus is missing, but like you can still play your cards.
They'll
Yeah.
still work.
Yeah.
They're
But
just
then you're
less
like
good.
then you're like Jenny or no, sorry, you still would never play this in Jenny.
No.
But like you're like
Winifred.
yeah, you're like Jenny. You're Winifred, but you are just Jenny. And as
Yeah,
we've talked about
without
previously
money.
in this video,
Without extra
yeah,
money.
it's like, why are you doing this? Yeah.
Yeah, Jenny without money is like Iron Man without money, not Batman
It's
without
like
money.
Lola, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like Lola, but you never throw away all your stuff.
Yeah.
Travis, also you included Schizo Drool. I had to make a new background for this one.
This
Yeah.
is a rogue investigator.
It is a rogue investigator.
Can you guys wait for the Schizo Drool spoiler in Ether Drift?
Oh, that's gonna be sick. He's here because I played him recently and I had a really good time with it.
Yeah.
He moves fast, and you run people over, and you're a dog. This is the most fun version of Skids I've ever played.
He just looks like that old Sesame Street bit where they had a dog in a coat.
Yeah.
The guy hands underneath it though, like doing things.
I do actually think this is like the most interesting of the Arkham investigators because it gives you a resource that you don't normally have, whereas
Yeah.
the other ones are just kind of small variations.
and-
Sorry, wait. You think that Duke is not fun? This is not fun to you? It's not exciting to you?
To add on to Schizo Drool 2, I do think that the Barkham cards and the investigators do a good showcase of like what the classes are too, like what
Yeah.
even like kind of like a sillier standpoint, because we're about to see Schizo Drool in a few cycles become an event, right? Like his ability is going to kind of become an event, right?
Yeah, the event's going to be called Schizo Drool.
Called the wheel.
But yeah, no, this is I think it's a fun inclusion, and I'm excited for you to not put any of the other ones in. It's just Schizo Drool gets his moment in the sun.
I wasn't gonna put the other ones.
Perfect,
In.
perfect.
I don't care about Jacqueline. What's her name?
Barklin Fine.
I don't think that's what it is.
It's not a good one. I know that
I
much.
know.
Is it? I don't even know.
Yeah, like.
No.
And there's Duke, but like he doesn't get to be in the slideshow twice.
No. We're gonna go on to Ends with Conspiracy.
He doesn't get to be in it 3 times.
There we
He
go.
gets to be in it twice.
We have Ends with Conspiracy here. Trish Scarborough, fantastic rogue
So
investigator. Great stat line. Also kind of is showing the I like enemies around part of the rogue pool. Like I like to take advantage of enemies. I like to like use them positively. And she also has, and she's just very good. She's very good.
Yeah, she's played Seeker Zero too. It's how you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those cards are really strong.
Yeah, and she uses like the rogue cards incredibly well. As like going back to Lockpicks, going to Lucky Cigarette Case, works really well with her shadow agents. Just nullifies the weakness, which might be another problem, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Nope. Additionally, in this cycle, we also had Dexter Drake in his official form, which what I really like about Dexter Drake is that. As we're talking about like the book assets and their signatures, I think that it's really cool to see like a very different style for
They did a
Dexter
good job
Drakes.
between those two.
Yeah, he still has one of my favorite weaknesses in the game, the weakness design, because it is kind of like it's a double action, but in a very clever way.
It's like a double action, but the actions have to take place on separate turns.
Yep. Yep.
And like you can't stop it from just giving you -2 brain.
Yep. Yep. And it is always fun when Bryn's like, I'm going to attack at 4, and I'm like, do you mean 6? You're like, no, I mean 4.
Yeah. I think it could use it's like a little bit soft to use like when you discard from play, you take a horror or something like that, but it is a good weakness. That's pretty.
Yeah, or like, I don't know.
That's just, I think that the signature weaknesses should be a little harsher in general. So.
Yeah. What I really like about Dexter Drake is I think he really utilizes his rogue class in a very like cool way. Like obviously like there's the asset part is really good, but just there's a lot of surprises that can come with exploring it. There's a card, it's not on this card here, but the Dark Ritual asset. Bryn using that in the middle of a test, like using Reestrad, loading it with curses, and then just being like, just kidding, there's no curses in here.
Yeah.
Was like a real like it's all these little like surprises that again when the lightning bolt window you can do a lot of cool things with that.
Yeah, that one time when he was like a different investigator and then
Yeah.
he wasn't.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was a good trick.
Is that when you did him into
like
Calvin?
Calvin,
Yeah.
No, I think that Dexter and Safina are actually my favorites in terms of design, like mirrored pair for the 5/2s.
No, I think they're the best one.
Yeah, they do a really good job of showcasing 2 different sides of both of the classes and how they can interact with like both of the classes and care about them.
I think a big part of that too is
As opposed to like Joe and
Roll into the same
where
guy.
it's like you're actually the same. You're wearing the same hat. You have the same gun.
Yeah.
And I think a big reason for that is that both. I mean, like it's not so much linked into their actual design, but I think that Mystic and Rogues are the most open in what you can do with them because their whole kind of like thing is also about like cheating the game or like doing weird effects. So like it's a very fun card pool, and as I agree, they're fantastic investigator designs.
Yep.
All right, it's here. Faustian Bargain. You know how we talked about game changers? Like Lockpicks, let me handle this. You handle this. This is the third in the holy trinity of like rogue game changers.
Yeah.
You might remember back at the start of this video we talked about the core set and how there were the economy class, like the resource class, but they didn't have like a great way to get resources. And if you look at all this, it's actually still, up until this point, relatively true, right? There's ways to get small resources, or like you could use like Gregory Gry to get it, or you have like the experience things, or Preston Fairmont. But this is now, that's 5 resources for an action.
Yep.
People called this Hot Streak 0 for the longest time, and it kind of is. At this point now, Hot Streak has been forgotten, and this is just Faustian Bargain. Like, that's how good Faustian Bargain is.
These are like a Hot Streak is like bad Faustian Bargain.
Yes.
That's what you do with that card.
Yeah.
Pay 2 experience, not have put curses in the bag, and also you can't split the resources. Garbage.
Yeah. Very, very good card. Incredible. Just like
really
so good on the economy side. It's insane. In this cycle, we had the Blessed and Cursed. Rogue's thing about curses was kind of just like, I ignore them. They're not real. I do not care. But they had a lot of cool things that were able to pay off or support it. Priest of Two Faiths works really well with Dexter, but also is just like a really good thing for Paradox, which again, going to that cross between Rogue and Mystic, like I think this is a really nice example of how like they can kind of like cross in those ways as well.
Yeah, this guy was one of those enablers to let Dexter actually play like Curse Bless, the paradoxical side of things.
Yeah. Tristan Botley, who also cares about that, and also is, we now got to say Tristan Botley. If you ever draw three...
Yeah, you draw 3 or more.
Yeah, that's a Tristan Botley. That's what that's called.
Tristan Botley.
Reestrad is a very powerful kill spell, even if you're not doing curses. Like, it's just, like, very good.
Yeah, zero
agreed.
money for, like, +3 and, like, 4 damage is...
And relevant icons, too.
Yeah,
so if you're
like, there's a lot.
Crystallizer...
That's
Yeah,
kinda
like a
nuts.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like sure you might end up, I believe the technical term is shitting up the bag. But
Not as much as the next one sometimes.
yeah, I mean justify the means is also like
Just pass
what,
it.
What if we just win?
Yeah, what if we just pass?
win the game like right now?
Yeah. Yeah, very, very nice effects. Continuing this, we had False Covenant, which is the Rogue Covenant, which just allows you to say no to a curse token, which is my favorite, just being like, nope, I didn't put that in there. That was never
That's
there.
not my signature.
Yeah. And then Goose, which gives you +1 to each of your stats, but you have to make a promise.
I hate that these are not geese. This is like the worst flavor fail of all time.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
So this one goes back to Sharon's Oval, what I was saying, is like the idea of signing a contract. I think that's like a very fun part. And I'd love to see more of that too. I like that part of the Rogue Pie, which is like, I will do this, but I can't do that. Kind of a fun
this
thing.
card is kind of a neat one for like going back to Molly Maxwell, because like how many packs are you really going to have in your deck?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, are you going to forget you made a deal with the Goose?
I always do.
Because
That's why I can never play a two-handed solo, because 3 turns later, someone's like, you broke it. And I'm like, fuck! What also is really nice about this card too is it's also just a way for you to get like 10 curse tokens in the bag if you're also looking to do that payoff stuff.
Yep.
It's a very fun card for that.
It's an
as
enabler
well.
for that, yeah.
And then we got some breaking and entering here.
Just solid cards.
Yeah, very powerful rogue card, and then Hard Knocks, which is just like they finally made those ones like you want to play them because
yeah,
like
the level zeros I think have like a niche. The level 2 ones are like a little bit tough to justify because they don't actually do anything. Not really. I mean, I guess it's kind of like you get one use of the renewable resources because you didn't pay them to play it. But yeah, these ones are just kind of like
they're nice. Yeah, they're nice to have.
Juiced.
Let's do that.
Like that guy.
Yeah, he's juiced. Yeah.
I don't understand how like I get how being a little bit drunk might make you fight better. I don't get how it's supposed to make you run better.
Well, it's like Drunken
myself.
Master, right? It's like
God.
Drunken Master. You know, like you just become one with it.
I don't think it's the actual drinking. I think he's just like a guy who has experienced hard knocks, so he's like experienced from living on the street, so he's good at like running out fighting other people, other like vagabonds or like whatever you want to call people,
Oh, sorry, I have one more.
and like running away from the cops or like people who he stole from, or I don't know. It's just the lifestyle.
Hypothetically, if my client had done those things.
I almost forgot the campaign.
The drinking.
The campaign. So rogues have a little bit of I think there's like they have one pretty big weakness in Innsmouth, which is the fact that the deep ones have an on-engage mechanic. That's like the evading becomes a lot harder. But I think otherwise, like they have pretty there's not that many like notable like recurring brain effects.
Except when you're trying to drive a car.
Pretty fair trade-off.
Yeah. Except when you're driving the
That's
car.
fine. You just die in that scenario. Like,
When you die, you're like cheat death. Like what the fuck? Why doesn't this work?
I also included Syzygy here because I love the idea of like every class losing 3 resources and rogues being like, it's fine. You know, I got Faustian now. Like I can
Either
manage.
that or they're like lose 3, and you're like, please stop. I need my money.
Yeah, it's one of the two. Yeah.
Please God.
Like lose 3. Like I'll resign. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Just leave. It's
I
okay.
don't need to be here.
All right. And you know we are in the final slide change when Gloria Goldberg shows on the screen because she's in 4 classes.
Can she play? I don't.
Yeah, she's a rogue. She's a rogue.
I'm sure she can only play blue cards.
No, I mean,
That's sad.
no, she can.
There's not cards in
She
other.
can play. She can play under surveillance.
Yeah.
That's what she has. Gloria Goldberg. She is a rogue.
Kicking the hornet's nest.
Yeah, she can play Kicking the Hornet's Nest. Notably, she won't be here for the Survivor one, but when I was making this, I was like, damn, she is literally the first slide in number 3 each time. Because she's Guardian, Seeker, Rogue, Mystic. Yeah. Yeah, she's good. The Rogue class is probably like the least impactful splash of the 3, but there's still a reason to do it, which is kind of wild. Yeah.
I do like the book promos more that give you like a character from the book as an
Yeah,
ally
those are fun. Yeah, that's fun.
than the ones that are just like, here's a thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah, or like-
probably happened or was referenced.
Like a character or like an
Yeah.
item from it. I think those are
Yeah.
kind of like fun ideas.
Yeah, there was a character from Salus's that didn't make it in, but like he's the skill focus investigator, so he needed that one. And Roland's doesn't like really have a secondary character in it too much.
It's the desk sergeant or whatever. Like, damn it, Roland! You need to stop playing by the book. Go beat up some guys.
No, that's not
That's
why
a thing.
he's out there. He's out there
Yeah.
because like he busted a smuggling ring that
Then it should have been
That
Johnny
should have been-
Smuggler.
he should
a
have
higher
them
up was benefiting from, and they were like, you could go to the middle of nowhere.
All right. Return to Circle and Done, our final return to. We got Well Connected, which
I put it here.
you did. Thank you. Well Connected, the upgraded version, makes it so like it's a huge difference between having needing 10 to get +2 and 8 to get +2. It seems small, but like that is a very nice
You
change.
do it twice a turn, which
Yep.
is also huge. It's
Yep.
twice as good, doubled.
Oh, yeah,
Times.
yeah, yeah.
1
Yep.
+ 1.
And then Knight of Swords, which Travis included because I included it in as the picture for the thing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It helps you succeed by more, but I haven't played it. Oh, no, I have played it. I've played every card.
Yeah.
But I don't remember playing it, which is not a good sign.
Yeah, I think the awkward part about this one is that they unified the cost on
Yes,
all of the,
Yeah.
the tarot cards, because every other one is like, yeah, this is probably worth 3
Yep.
XP.
Yeah.
And this one is like, well, I mean, almost.
Like, they're
Like, we're
supposed to
real
be
close.
like unique to that class, like to show what that
Yeah.
class did. This
Yeah.
tarot card, but yeah, no, it's just not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. On to Edge of the Earth, where we got Monterey Jack, who starts Cheese Man, and he says that because he's yellow, because he's actually a seeker in disguise.
Because of the jaundice.
That
thing.
too, yes. That's actually funny.
That is really funny how that worked out.
Yeah,
He's also kind of moldy.
he is Rogue, level 0,
It is kind of
and
a
he's going to
moldy
turn into the
design, isn't it?
Seeker. Yeah. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about Monterey, but you actually see like the intersection between Seeker and Rogue here, which usually falls into like the idea of movement. Is kind of like that's what they kind of share. But we also then are going to go to Bob.
A lot safer choice than like broken things.
Yes, probably yes. Which I see we're going to be talking about right away.
yeah.
We also got
That
Bob
way.
Jenkins here. He may be a survivor on the 10, but he does upgrade into Rogue 1 to 5, so he is like our Rogue investigator for this cycle. Again, I like the kind of the intersection on all of these are kind of like, apart from like, I guess like, I mean, it is kind of for Norman Withers, right? But like the intersection between the two where you can see like where the classes share. And I like the item synergy between like Survivor.
Yeah, like Norman's is supposed to be deck manipulation.
Yes,
right?
yeah, exactly, right. And also just like being damn good, right?
Yeah, so having 5 broken 4 rings feels good, man.
And Lily is just like the flexibility of Mystic and Guardian kind of coming together.
Yeah.
And then Bob is like the item stuff, which you never really think about it, but like you already even seen it with previously in this video with Joey the Rat, right? Like there's some like precedent for this kind of thing. Bob's a really fun investigator to play, and I think he's pretty good too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do some weird stuff that nobody else can. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah. these are very powerful cards from this cycle. Edge of the Earth was a very strong cycle, but these are some very powerful cards. And conveniently, they all happen to be Rogue and Seeker. And it is kind of funny when you
I don't know, man.
when you think about it.
how that works.
Seeker is responsible for a lot of Rogue taboos. And it just shows, like, maybe the other side should get poked a little bit, too.
I mean, it was a Seeker. Eon's chart, it's a Seeker card, but it's not Rogue's fault. Or, I mean, it's not Seeker's fault. That one's, like, Survivor's fault.
Yes, that one is Survivor's fault, yeah.
Scavenging's fault, not Survivor.
Yeah. Yeah, but these are all, like, so they're all powerful Eon chart because, you know, scavenging them back is really good. Janae Beauregard, again, as I said earlier in this video, I feel like, you know, she was 3 experience just because they thought that would be fun to include with Delilah and Lola, but she is not a 3 experience card. And then Pocket Telescope reads so innocent. It's like, I'm like, what am I doing here? Well, you just kind of break scenarios wide open.
Yep.
Yeah, there are many scenarios where the hard part is you don't know what the location you're moving into does.
Yeah. Or like even like scenarios where like it's revealed, but you have entering it as bad, and you're like, okay, I just won't.
Yeah, just not going there.
Yeah. Going on to the mix between Guardian and Rogue, we have Old Shotgun
These are here for you, Bryn.
What? Why?
You like this kind of stuff.
and Quick Draw Holster.
This is your jam.
That's fair. Cards that do nothing.
It is kind of fun to like compare it to the Seeker ones, where it's just like janky. what the fuck? Yeah. Like I mean, like seriously, compare Quick Draw Holster. I know it's like apples and oranges, like really when you like look at it, but like just like Quick Draw Holster and Janae. It's like
Yeah, so like this is more like bananas to oranges.
it's like an orange to a hamburger. It's just an orange to a hamburger. Yeah.
Even on the other side, like you
Yeah,
compare
right.
this to like what's his face, the detective guy,
Michael Lee.
Michael Lee. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think yeah. Quick Draw Holster is just like too much XP.
Yeah.
But it is kind of neat. It
I
is,
think it's a
like-
good effect. Like I think it is a good
Yeah, like,
card,
it's
but it's just
cool
like the
stuff,
XP, yeah,
but-
and the cost maybe.
Yeah, like if I have to pay 4 money for it, it
You
shouldn't
shave on
also
both of them.
cost 4
Or
XP.
one of them.
And if it does cost 4 XP, I shouldn't have to pay 4 money for it.
Yeah. Or if it was like that new library pass card where you could take a card from your hand, like it
Yep.
comes in with a gun.
Yeah, that would be nice too.
Yeah, the old shotgun though I think is like a perfect. Behold, my card does nothing unless.
Oh yeah, no, I think there's actually nothing wrong with Old Shotgun as a card.
I
like
think,
it's,
I think that one is like actually.
No, we're not here to make fun of Old Shotgun. That card's
yeah, we're here to make fun of Quick Draw Holster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pro holster is
Yeah.
not good.
yeah. But like yeah, I love Old Shotgun. I think it's a very fun card,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think it shows the rogue weirdness in getting mixed with like the Guardian just sensibility, right?
Yeah. This expansion actually just kind of tried to group them by classes roughly, and it just happened that the Rogue and the Seeker ones were all kind of busted.
Yeah, yeah. Going on to Blur and Unscrupulous Loan. So these are the Rogue, Mystic, Rogue Survivor.
The really notable ones.
Yeah, I think these are good cards too. Like, I mean, Unscrupulous Loan is very nice. I'm glad that it is not allowed in
Campaign
standalone.
only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a nice change. It's a good way to get money. Like, if you're not planning on going below 10, this is a very easy inclusion. If you are planning on going under 10 and you can spend the 3 experience, also not a bad way to make $10, right?
Yeah, if like I don't know, maybe you're headed out into the abyss of space, and not certain that you will return.
Yeah.
Who
It pays
cares if
back
you're
next
like
month,
whatever?
right? You're
Yeah,
like,
right. It
nope.
doesn't matter. Like I'm probably gonna be dead.
Yep, yep.
So
And I think Blur is probably my favorite of this cycle of cards, just because it's, I think, the best cross between the two, while also not being, you know,
I like the book one.
well, it's because it's.
I like divination.
Yes, it's a secret. I know, Chaz, it's a secret, yeah. I know. Secret and Mystic are 2 favorite classes.
Well, it's a really nice marriage between two because Seeker gets the extra clues, and then like the Mystic one spells also get you extra clues, and then you can use your brain if you're Mystic, or
Yeah,
your
so
book
give
if
you
you're
a- it's
Seeker.
true,
So
no,
it's like it
it's
really
true.
is just.
It is really
works
just,
really well.
it is,
Yeah,
it is, no,
it's-
you know what,
it's really
I'm
well-
actually
it's a
going to
great design,
concede my
actually.
official point. I actually think Blur is no, but I really like I like the payoff. I like the wording for the card too. It's super clear. I think it's the best
It is a
of
fun card.
of those for the design. I think Brandicathuga is the best one, but what do I know? Going on to the fun cards for rogues to be able to take advantage of.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah, Red Clock, 10 XP.
Fun
Card
cards
that
are
says,
next slide.
hidden
This is the
mode,
good
win
ones.
The game like you started with this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Cool.
My favorite thing about Red Clock is that, like I said, we're now at the late point, so we're not like talking about how they impacted it, and more just like this card is fun.
Yeah, because there's a good chance you were here for
Yeah,
it.
the black
Yeah.
fan is like Dario, eat your fucking heart out.
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
But what I love about the Red Clock's top one is it doesn't go away at the end of your turn, so you can stack them if you don't take tests, which is.
I like that one hand. I also kind of hate it because it's like a bit of a pain. To
Oh
stack,
yeah, it's
but
definitely a pain. But I mean, also like I think it's not the end of the world
It's
if you
neat.
just like pretend it went away. You know, like you could just like forget.
No, I will need a +8 this turn.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're playing skids with it, so I get it.
I know I need it.
Black Pen was a good payoff to the big deck money builds as well, in addition to Well Connected. There's a lot of cool stuff for that, and as Bryn said, Dario, eat your heart out, you piece of shit. Well, I added that last part. Moxie, the whole fast composure cards, I think, are all super playable, and having some brain protection to spend your money on is not bad for the rogues as well, especially when it comes to dealing with things like Frozen in Fear. Hold it till the Frozen in Fear comes out, play it, and then like just like eat it up and get rid of it. Speaking of also getting rid of Frozen in Fear, what if you just spent $4 to draw a card instead? That's what counter espionage does. Yeah,
Really good.
very
Let's do
nice.
that.
Actually, there's a lot of good, like this, Moxie, and then Savant that we're going to be talking about. There's a lot of good Mythos mitigation for rogues in this cycle.
I mean, they've been doing a lot of that lately.
Yep.
Where they're like, so you only have one brain. What if we made it so that you weren't just like stone dead to that? And I'm kind of like, well, let's not do that. But
Like, it is nice
like,
to
it's
not
good. It's
be
really strong.
stone dead to brain test, but also like the class should have a weakness.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like there should be
Probably makes them
something.
different.
There should be something that we're bad at that like other classes are not bad at.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, it's one of those things where
As
if
opposed to the beginning where the thing we were bad at that other classes weren't bad at was everything.
Yeah, I suppose it's about finding the balance, right? Like having like, if I feel like you always can run, you handle this one because it's free,
Yeah.
right? I feel like counter espionage, I'm not running it unless I'm like consistently making good money, right? Savant, I'll run it in Finn, but like I need to have like a good stat spread to make. I wouldn't run it in like Trish,
Jenny.
right? I'd run it in Jenny for sure. But like that's my concern is that if they become too ubiquitous, like then it's just like why not run?
Yeah, I actually,
multiple?
I don't
think
I
where
don't mind
they're-
them costing XP for the way
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
around
yeah,
that. I think
definitely.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Which
Yeah.
is like I think Savant sits in a pretty nice spot for that.
yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, they. I think that they've gotten to a better place with it. Like, you handled this one was fine for the time, but those sorts of effects shouldn't be at level 0. They should have a real cost to them.
Yeah.
Like, either justify the means where you have to pay 3 experience for that, or like counter espionage where you have to be able to make a bunch of money. You
Yep.
have to like actually sacrifice something, part of your game plan, to be able to solve that issue.
Definitely.
So
On to the fun cards. We got Underworld Support, which
So fun.
turns your deck into a Highlander, but reduces your deck size by 5. We have 21 or Bust, which is a fun way to get a bunch of resources. And then we have Black Market, which, you get to draw 3 weaknesses,
It's the
a
weirdest,
skill, yeah.
weirdest
and then a
way to
weakness
say
is from
draw
Bryn's
5
deck.
cards
Yeah.
that anyone's ever seen.
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
I think notably, going back to like looking back, I remember with Black Market, we all were like, this card is like, teamwork. Let me hand like you owe me one. It's like it's just like more of a meme, but it actually is, unless you get like fucked like we did, like pretty
Sounds
playable.
funny.
Yeah.
Though.
I do think you need consideration to when you play it too. You can't just like put it in any deck because of those reasons, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like is obviously here so that Bob can play it.
Yep.
Because he's
Yep.
like, what do I want to do? I want to play items.
Yep.
Who do I want to play the items for? It doesn't matter.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we got some just some more good rogue cards here in this
just
cycle.
solid.
Yeah, Money Talks 2 is just like easier to trigger and also replaces itself. Like the ceiling is lower, right?
Moving 3 times is 3 more. Well, not 3
Yeah,
more
it's-
times.
that's Schizo
probably about-
Drool.
It's probably about the number of times that you should need to do that.
It's here twice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's exactly that, right? Like, yeah. And then we have Savant, which we were talking about, which is some more Mythos protection, but like you have to have stats for it. That's
Yeah, but
Yeah,
most
sure.
most
Most
rogues
do.
are going to be throwing it for like 4 pips
yeah.
against a brain test specifically. Like
Yeah, this is
crap against everything else. But
awful against everything else.
Unexpected courage
Yeah.
against everything else, which
Yeah.
isn't
it's not
horrible,
bad,
but
but
it's
you
not
shouldn't
good.
like
Yeah.
you don't want to pay XP for it.
Yeah.
So
As for the campaign, this one, like Forgotten Age, is about like the hazards of the environment. So there's a lot of foot tests in it. There's also enemies that reward you for evading them because otherwise they put doom on the agenda. there's not too much to say about it.
It's just your friend, but he's gone crazy.
Yeah. And rogues you get the Guardian's like, I'm gonna kill him, and the rogue's like, what if we just rob from him first? I'll just steal his
What if we just flip him and tie him up?
Yeah, you just take the money and he's okay. And the rogue's like, fancy that. Look at that. All right, well, don't kill him. He's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is also like, we get to see much more utility out of the, as seen previously, like move 3 times effects than we ever
Because the
have
maps are
before,
huge. Yeah,
'cause most of
good
the
call.
other time, it's just like move once or 1 time for free.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Going on to then Scarlet Keys came out with Keimani Jones, who took the evasion design up to, like, I kill by evading is kind of like Keimani's thing. Also have tools. Okay. But like it really takes Keimani's really able to take advantage of the of a lot of the rogue cards we've seen, and they actually care about their foot quite a bit. So like there's a lot of stuff that as we've seen here, Keimani's able to take advantage of that I think like other investigators could, but not to this extent. So that's a neat thing that Keimani was able to bring to the rogue class there. However, we got some very exciting cards in this cycle. Dirty Fighting, which, as we've now go back to looking in the past, was I think our first asset with Trick on it, going back all the way in the day.
It's an illusion.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Tricks are something whores do for money.
Yeah. Or Candy, as he turns to all the kids watching him. Yeah. Dirty Fighting was a very impactful card for the rogues because just like it opened up.
It does so many things.
Yeah, a lot of stuff for them.
Yeah, even if you're just doing something dumb with it, like I'm gonna evade this guy and then I'm gonna kick him in the shins.
Yep.
Like, you sure do it.
Yeah.
You're Rita now.
Yeah. I mean, Rita can play it too, which is
Rita's
very
like,
nice.
I am
Which is why it's a trick.
Yeah.
Which is honestly the reason.
Yeah. We also have the Thieves Kit, which allow you to investigate with your foot. You're not doing this for the stat because the stat is very usually the same.
This is really good. I saw somebody playing this in a skid stack once. It was like a whole +1.
Yeah, it's not very good.
That's
No,
like pretty okay.
It's not very good.
You want to be using this to like the real thing is like being
It's
able
like
to.
Dr. Milan.
Yeah, I mean, so this is also something that we personally, I'm sure someone has, haven't explored so much. Is like a lot of the green cards that allow you to get extra ammo will give you supplies as well, and we have not like messed around with that too much.
What I'll tell you, one thing that's a really hell of a drug is using a sleight of hand to put one of those in as Winifred and just going fucking nuts with it. That feels good. Yeah. But yeah, like, it's one of those things that, like, this is kind of like paying off a lot of these, like nimble, like the skills that you can commit that rogues are able to take advantage of. That's kind of like what this turns on more than anything else. Turn those skills that would have to be just for evading into now, like, winning the game as opposed to not winning the game. And then we have Underworld Market.
Suck it, Fence.
Yeah, so this is a really nice card because it just like is once again kind of just replaces Fence. And it lets you have just a little illicit deck that you can draw from to give you some more consistency with that.
Yeah, I'm sure like you could play some sort of neat Fence pile where you're playing like the one-handed guns that are illicit in your Underworld Market.
Yep.
So that you never run out of bullets, really. But I don't think I care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fence sucks.
Yeah. We have a level 2 Chuck Fergus, which is really nice because it lets you not have to put a big like you could do like a small down payment to get to your Chuck Fergus in the future.
It's not non-functional until you get to 10 XP.
Yeah.
Huge.
Which is very nice. The upgraded break and entry now returns to your hand, which is really good following that cycle of what we've seen with Cheap Shot and all this stuff.
The numbers are like a little shuffled around. Like
Yeah, it's 1 instead of 2, and then 3 to return. Kicking the Hornet's Nest, which allows you to dig for an enemy and then get some resources. So what we're also seeing here is continuing from Edge of the Earth and Edge of the Earth and Innsmouth, where there's now like economy cards at level 0 for Rogue. That's now something that since Innsmouth they've just had.
Just normal. Now.
Yeah, that's just like what they have, which
Back
is
in
really
my
nice.
Day, you had to play neutral cards to get your money.
Yep.
Yeah. What's also good about this one is it gives you an ally. I'm sorry, not an ally, an enemy, which is something that you can like again with rogues take advantage of in a lot of ways.
Ally, but that's a separate thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It might be that guy we need to tie down and pickpocket. We have Disguise and Stylish Coat. Disguise is some evade tech that allows you to also lock down enemies. Notably has supplies on it too.
Yeah, it does. It does use supplies. Although you shouldn't need to evade 8 enemies in a scenario or whatever. But
Yeah, it's probably not a great
Yeah.
place to be.
But this goes like with the slip away. This was when we started to see the consistency in freezing enemies, which, as mentioned earlier, is very important for evade actually being like a viable thing you want to be doing.
also, how are you supposed to convince people that you are in fact Norman Withers if you do not have a wig to do so?
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't make any sense.
doesn't. Yeah.
Does it have to be a wig, or can I use a mop?
Can I ask a question?
Whatever you want, man.
Bryn, can I ask a question? With that card that changes you into another investigator, are you gonna Norman Withers into Trish Scarborough?
It's the only way I'll ever play Norman Withers. That guy kind of sucks.
We also have Stylish Coat here, which if you're gaining, like, if you can consistently gain 1 resource from a player card effect during your turn, this is just more things. So like that High Roller, you know how we said you got to squint? This is what Travis and I are seeing next to it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lone wolf. You have to spend experience. on.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where
It's cool though.
Not quite, but like kinda.
kinda, yeah. But like if you're consistently able to make 1 resource a turn and you're like a big money deck, it's probably worth it.
Yep.
But if you're like a deck that doesn't care about your money, probably not.
Well, you wouldn't pay 2 for a 1/1 soak?
No.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have our customizable cards, which
Ugh.
damn.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
think,
can't read them.
I
forgot
think
my
all
glasses.
of these are like pretty reasonably designed.
Yeah.
The only one that I have like any kind of issue with really is Friends in Low Places and like what you can search for, but
I like Honed Instinct the most just because it feels like the most fun rogue one. Like the action
it
synergy I
should've
think is
been
really fun.
Myriad to start with.
Yeah. 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 And Damning Testimony is fine and it's here too. But I think that like if I had to point to a class that was my least favorite customizable, I think it would be the rogue ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine's neutral.
Okay, no, that's a good point. I don't kind of consider it doesn't
It's
get a
not
week though. It's
class.
not a class. It doesn't get a week.
I think my least favorite are the Mystic ones.
I really like the alien. He's fun to play with.
The Alien's neat, but the other
I also like Living. I like Living Ink a lot too. I played
Linux,
a
I
lot.
think is kind of boring. I think it just has the one use case where you protect yourself in the Mythos phase, really.
Oh no, I use it for the symbol one because it says symbol now, so you draw it all the time.
Okay.
But it also is just like stat ball. You know me, I
And
love
then,
stat ball.
Like fuck power word.
No,
All
that's
right.
not one of the power words, Travis. Power words are like
That's
power
my-
word stun.
my power word.
Power word kill.
And then we have what Travis is calling the design mistake slide in the form of Clean Sneak. And yeah,
Nobody can play it. Who would want to?
yeah. Don't know why. Don't know why. Don't know
Yeah,
why.
Like this should. I think this is like a case of somebody who isn't Travis forgetting that Finn can't play
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either that or there's like a late change that they just didn't think about. They were
Yeah.
like, oh, this one's
Yeah.
like too good at like 3 experience, and then they bump up to 4 and they change something on the card and then to make it worse.
Yeah. And then just something happens.
Just
Yeah.
gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
After Scarlet Keys, we've had parallel. Oh, sorry, no, the campaign. The campaign.
campaign.
Yeah.
Scarlet
After
Keys.
Scarlet Keys, you do actually play.
It's okay, I don't like
Scarlet
talking
Keys.
about this one either.
That's okay. I got this one. Concealed, the evade, very relevant for rogues. Also, generally, foot is the easiest thing to get high. I think like pretty
is
safe.
cheap
Yeah, it's
these
cheap.
days. It wasn't in the beginning, but it is now.
There's cards like Thrall again. Like there's a lot of cards that just reward evading, and then there's also the Beast in the Cowl of Crimson, who you can push down the stairs over and over against rogues. I think that this campaign generally is pretty unnotable unless you are like, I guess unnotable isn't a word, but you know what I mean. It's like unless you are a flex, you're not going to have a struggle with this one. If you are able to specialize, this one rewards it very well, which is the unfortunate part, but that's the case of it.
The concealed card is so saturated compared to everything else. It's so sharp and detailed.
Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of crazy.
I could like touch it and pull off the screen, man. It's a high definition scan.
That is a very high definition scan, yeah. All right. We had some parallel investigators, parallel Monterey Jack. The notable thing about him is that the Edge of the Earth investigators, this actually, like, the swapping between the backsides actually can matter, because now you can
Yeah.
play Monterey Jack as a 0 to 3 rogue, which is nice, because I feel like that's a little bit more interesting than the other parallel investigators where they're, like,
Yeah.
very similar.
I just
right?
want them to print these guys in like real cards.
I hope so, too. They do one day. Hope so, too.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's a pack that comes with like 5 of them or whatever.
Yeah,
and that's
you just,
like, I gotta pay them
you just want them to
$15
be
for it or
real.
whatever.
Yeah,
I
you
just,
want,
yeah, like,
yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. We have Jenny Barnes parallel as well. She was very recent.
This is the artwork they used on the cover of issue 1 for the
It is.
comic book.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
For like her second. No, I think I like the base art more. This is the worst art. I think. For Jane. The Huntress one's sick. She's like, bam, bam.
Yeah, the Huntress one is pretty sick. I don't see art. I actually can't see colors, so, you know.
Oh.
This one's basically black and white.
Wow, that's what I said. The whole card's black and white.
That's why.
But, like, so she was talent focused, but I don't want, like, she's pretty new still, so we're not going to dive too much into this. We have our last cycle of cards with Feast of Hemlock Vale, and we have Alessandra Zorzi to start us off. She is the parlay investigator. She cares about parlaying. She has a pretty good stat line as well, right? Like 3, 4, 2, 4.
That's pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
It's better than Trish.
Better than Trish, but not better than Trish.
No.
No. Well, that's because Trish is pretty hard to be better than. She's a very good investigator.
Yes, there's not many investigators who get that.
Yeah, but in the race to find the location of the nuclear weapons, I think she would probably win.
I agree, yes. Well, it's because
Yeah.
Trish has been tailing Norman Withers
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
last 5 years.
He doesn't even know.
One day
He doesn't even know.
one day he'll break, as she says. Alessandra Zorzi, of course, brings a lot of parlay cards with her, but notably not many we're going to talk about because none of them are really that great.
They kind of suck.
Yeah. However, there still are a lot of good cards in this cycle.
Bianca
for
Ducats?
the money cards, as you can see, again, continuing that trend, going like
Popping off
crazy
now.
as well. We got Bank Job,
Night Job's great, man.
Grift, and Scrimshaw Charm. Notably as well, what I really enjoy about these cards is that they can fit into different decks. Like, I mean, yeah, you can run these ones anywhere, right? But they do feel like they fit in different places too, right?
So my favorite thing about Scrimshaw Charm is when one of your friends is like, how many curse tokens
Scrimshaw
are
goes
worth
in
1
every
money?
Yeah.
And he's like, 1. One for 1 money, because I could put 1 curse token into the bag for 3 money, or I could put 3 curse tokens in for 5 money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'll just keep shitting up the bag. And then he gets mad that I suggest he should also do something about that so anyone else could ever pass a test.
Listen, look, it's not my fault. It's not my problem to make sure that you guys can pass tests. Okay, I come to the game with a way to make money and manage my economy. I come to the way with a way to progress the game and pass tests. It's not my fault. You guys.
I'll have you know, I did not complain.
You didn't. You didn't.
I
That's
thought it was. I thought it was a good.
It was funny.
Travis.
I know, and it was really unfortunate. That's how it worked out.
That sometimes that's just has to be how it is.
But you
That's
should
just-
have done better.
Oh, by like not finishing my deck before you did?
Yeah, I guess maybe they'll first next time.
No, I think the real problem was given Travis Rogue.
Shot, shot.
Yeah. But yeah, no, these are some really nice economy cards that came out recently. Bianca Ducats is also an economy card, but when she
Yeah,
also
yeah.
is there, she's actually like a parlay enabler in
both
disguise.
halves.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's Russ breaking in.
Yeah, I don't like how she'll give you the money even if you don't pass the test.
Yeah.
Like, give me 10 money. I don't think you're gonna pay me back. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll kill you. Like, sure, yeah, try.
She's just looking for a friend. She just doesn't know how to show it.
Yeah.
That's her real
The
problem.
art on the enemy side looks so awkward. It's like she's being squished by the frame.
Well, a big reason for that is the frame is like, that's a horrible frame to put art into.
I mean, yeah, but like they could just just have her stand there menacing with a knife and like tilt the art, so you get more of her body instead of just having like her neck cramped in.
Yeah, but I think then I don't know, like even like we look at like the Red Glove Man one. Hi Russ, is Julie not home? Yeah. It does. I'm not gonna deny that it looks awkward, but that's an atrocious frame to put art in.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. All right, we also got British Bulldog, so we got some illicit support in this cycle.
Yeah.
We have a weapon that allows you to shoot with your foot. which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because, you know, like rogues usually have higher foot, but it's a little bit bad because it kind of takes out of the fun of some of the rogue stuff that comes with it.
Like sharpshooter.
Like sharpshooter. It is to kind of just like also nullify sharpshooter. It has a parlay line as well, but I haven't seen anyone actually use that. They just use it for the gun part. Dirty Deeds is a really cool way to tutor up illicit cards.
You've only seen people use the gun to shoot people.
Yes. I've seen everyone just pay to put it into play. Dirty Deeds is a really fun way to tutor out cards and then like shoot with it. And I think it's a nice card. And then we have Bewitching, which is a really nice it's like trick to the plan, so it allows you to use that stuff. I like the rogue. I like the rogue change where it allows you to also search your deck for the card as opposed to just take the one off, which I think is really fun. We also got Fox Mask here, the full cycle of masks. Even though like I thought that the wolf mask, I mean the wolf mask obviously is very good, but I think the Fox Mask is the one that turned out to be like the one that I've seen used the most, just because like a lot of rogues care about foot and book, and like it's very easy to replenish as well. I think it's a very nice thing for that.
That's partially like what the classes do. Like rogues just have more actions to put out garbage assets and stuff like that than guardians do. So
yeah, but
no, Fox Mask is very good.
Yeah, I think it's like this one and Wolf are the ones that I see like actually played. Yeah,
I like Sparrow a lot too.
Sparrow is very nice. The only problem is as soon as eventually you stop filling it up because you're just like so good at passing.
Oh no.
Then why would I play it? Like if I could just run something else instead and not spend the action to play it. That's kind of the problem I've seen with it. But I think Sparrow's easy number 3 for sure. It's finally here.
Wow.
The 3 of us sitting around the table, Travis and Bryn.
It's like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, and I'm just there going, just waiting for my moment to change the slide.
What do I even need for this? I need like a cardigan and a.
This is the design mistake one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blackmail File, we actually talked a lot about that earlier in Rogue Week. And then Stir the Plot Pod 0 is essentially just Storm of Spirits, and I think super playable. But then Stir the Pot 5 is kind of here too.
Yeah, like one day I'll play Stir the Pot 5.
It'd be sick.
In a deck that I'll make Travis play. That has Sharpshooter in it.
Well, that's the thing because you have high book, high foot.
Plan.
It's better than. I'd rather do that than Sled Dogs.
You heard him here, Bryn. You have the go ahead.
Yeah.
Sharpshooter, no guns.
But why?
Just in case.
Just make you have the worst day of your life.
Somebody gives you.
You come here to play games with your friends, and Bryn's just here to torture you.
Okay. If I wanted to torture Travis, I'd like tie him up in my basement or something.
Okay, can I make the Bryn's deck?
Then I'll just make my own deck.
Yeah. Just give Bryn like a book for Shroud deck that has no way to get extra clues or do anything other than that book.
That would be pretty funny. And I'm just here. I brought a Silas deck. I'm Silas Bard. For the campaign itself, like all these other ones I've been talking about, there's not really like a crazy way to punish. There are a lot of notable brain tests in this one that just like actually kill you. So like maybe that could be something that you want to be prepared for. But I feel like that's kind of just like across the board for rogues. Like just don't
just another day.
Yeah. But yeah, like likewise, there's things that care about evading, a lot of things that are gonna want you to test your foot, and then there's a scenario where maybe like being able to action out a bunch of evade actions might save the day or something like that. But yeah,
attack for 6 times.
Yeah, actually, not even a fucking joke. The other thing too is also there's a lot of reward for like the combining stats together in this campagn as well,
There's
like high test values.
A couple of scenarios where just moving around and having actions throw around a lot are useful, like the Longest Night and the Forest one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or if you can drop the lantern off and then go do shit and come back and get it or whatever.
Yeah. And Bryn wasn't even lying. Just stabbing 6 times actually is
like pretty alright.
Yeah. All right, but then we also have Beyond, and at this point now, there's been a lot of spoilers for this. These previous ones, we've had like one card, but we got like
any of these.
Yeah, we got like Michael McGunn. We got the Luger. We have Bum's Rush, which is like a good cheap shot. Like they actually did it. And then we got like Where's the Party, which is a draw card version of Kicking the Hornet's Nest. So there's been a lot of stuff here for this one that the Rogue thinks look pretty good, and a lot of also big guns continuing that as well.
Some nice support for Gloria.
Yes. Yep. But also, like Michael McGlenn, we're seeing another 5-fist Rogue, which
I love the art for this Where's the Party? Like, where is it actually? I'll kill you.
yeah, this is please tell me I want to go to the party. Yeah. Yep. I think the card I'm most excited about is the Luger because it's kind of like that weird rogue gun, right? Where it's like this is a design that like feels very rogue firearmy, which I think is going to be very fun to play with. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think that gun also enables a lot of the stupid spend your ammo to do something
Yep.
that isn't fight builds.
Yep. I think it's gonna be a very nice, like a piece going forward that we can, if we look back and be like, Luger is it really opened up a lot of parts of the card pool, which I think is gonna be neat.
What do you want?
Unless you're just stretching out like a weirdo. All right, well, that's it. The history of the Rogue class is done, and Rogue Week's done. We did it.
Oh, we have to
Yeah,
wait
we
10
did.
years?
For the next one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I'll need even less stuff for the cosplay then.
Yeah, it's true. We're gonna perfect it by then. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everyone watching these videos. Thank you. So Rogue Week has been doing great because we're actually recording this during Rogue Week. Afterwards, when Secret Week was happening, I was like, "Ooh, are these not doing as good?" But Rogue Week is like, "No, people just don't want to watch Secret videos because it makes sense." Or
They're dumb.
Kind of boring.
yeah, but this one's very fun. So thank you so much. Let me know what you want to see for Mystic Week because I think Mystic Week's going to be very fun. Even though they're like my least favorite class, I think there's going to be a lot of cool things to talk about and explore with the designs for that one. So I think that's going to be really fun. We'll see you guys for that in a few months or tomorrow for a video. Or right now, if you click one of the things over here, there's some videos you can go watch. Or maybe it's covering us right now.
Blank.
Well, no, in YouTube world, there will be something there.
That's just a blank space.
No, there's something now.
Just
You look really silly, Travis. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much.